competitors, the warm-up is now over. Please wear the competition pool. The warm-up is now over. You can make your way out of the competition pool, and we can get started on time. Thank you.
Welcome to Days 2's coverage of the British Swimming Championships 2017, live from Ponds Forge International Sports Centre. My name's Alan March. Alongside me, I can absolutely say I'm very pleased to be joined by the very lovely Kerry-Anne Payne. Good morning.
Good morning, Alan. Thank you very much for having me.
Where did you appear from?
I appeared overnight with the fairies.
Well, yesterday here I was, sat up here on my own, talking about the heats all the way through. I was joined with some guests in the evening, but it's lovely to have somebody with me all day through. We might still have some special guests as the day goes on. Don't forget, loads of activity in the morning's events, loads of activity in the evening's events. And what we found yesterday, Kerry-Anne, and you may have spotted this, I know you were paying a great interest to the stream. We wanted people to interact with us through the streams. It's something we've been doing here at British Swimming through the venue for a long time, getting people's interaction. We're actually trying now, and you can see the hashtag BSC17, hashtag BSC17, use the hashtag stream as well, and we want to talk to the people at home. Some really interesting tweets yesterday from people far and wide. We had people in Saudi Arabia, people in New Zealand, people in Australia, we also had people in Milton Keynes, you know, lots of really exotic places.
Yeah, well, I think swimming is a worldwide sport. People absolutely love it everywhere. Everyone can swim, or everyone should be able to swim, so everyone will want to resonate with what's happening, and people have questions and want to know bits about other people that maybe they don't see and other things, and this is a meet now that's about the qualifications, and it's about the World Championships, but ultimately we just want to get more people excited about swimming.
Absolutely. In a couple of moments we're going to show you all of the events that are coming up this morning, but they're the blocks, that's the water, they're the backstroke flags, and that over there on the far side you might just have seen, that's the interview area. You only get to go over there really if you win, so that's the sort of aim, as well as being on the podium here inside Ponds Forge. Lots of youngsters, people young and old joining us here. Great crowd yesterday, and Kerry-Anne, I know you were watching the stream. Adam Peaty at the back end of yesterday's coverage, we were on the BBC as well. What a great atmosphere it was inside here.
Oh, I can imagine. It would have just been amazing. That would have been the first big hitter out here doing a great job and actually getting that consideration time, which is just incredible. So the crowd definitely will have been loving being part of this yesterday.
Okay, so there are 4 events actually being selected here. A lot of people tune in and they think it's just about winning a medal at the British Swimming Championships, but it's actually not. These are about selections as well. Obviously, the big one right at the top there, the FINA World Championships in Budapest in Hungary, late July that is. We've got the World Juniors going off to a chance for youngsters to go off to Indianapolis in America. European Juniors in Netanya in Israel, and then we've got the European Youth Olympic Festival. That's what the EOF at the bottom there it stands for, and that's in a place called Győr in Hungary. Which is only 5 hours and 28 minutes from my house. I just figured that out earlier on. What's it like to represent your country at a major event, young or old?
It's amazing. It really is. It's this as a youngster, it's this opportunity that you get to represent your country, and it's someone saying, we believe in you. And especially here, there's actually no qualifying times for those junior events. It's all through
so here's the
performance director.
Here's the events that you can actually qualify for today. Forget the bottom 2, they are in the qualifying standards. The rest of them are. We've got the women's 100 backstroke, men's 200 butterfly, women's 200 breaststroke, men's 100 backstroke, women's 800 metre freestyle. Kerry is grinning from ear to ear just at the words 800 metres. A mere dip.
Yeah, just a little sprint.
The women's 50 fly and the men's 50 metres breaststroke events coming up this morning. So again, a large amount of heats. All of our officials have just made the way out. That's what the applause is for, and we have to say a big thank you to all the volunteers and officials. You know, nothing happens without them.
We wouldn't be able to run this event without them, and I've always made a big point of saying thank you to the officials, whether it's the timekeeper or the judge. Absolutely great, and you know, all those people, they love it. They absolutely love it. So for them to be here, you know, being timekeepers and lap counters and stuff, just makes a big difference to events like this. Those volunteers are always what we need.
So you saw the smiles on a few of the faces of the officials. They're rested up. They've had their decent night's sleep, and they'll be keeping a keen eye on all of the activity that's happening here this morning. And what are we going to start with? Well, we're going to start with the women's 100 metres backstroke heats. We've got 6 ladies to go in this first heat. Lane 1 will be Alice Goulby of Millfield. Also from Millfield in 3 is Rachel Anderson. Got Debbie Cocking of Rotherham Metro in 4. Pia Murray from Ellesmere goes in 5. Catherine Henderson of Nova Centurion goes in 6. And Alaya May Webb goes in lane number 7. Now, as we mentioned right at the beginning of the broadcast, we've been interacting with you guys more so than ever before, and that was it proved really successful yesterday. A lot of people really enjoying the stream coverage. I got accosted by a coach a moment ago who told me he was talking to me about camera angles. I thought, get back to coaching. But yeah, it was great to see so many people enjoying it, but so many positive people telling us where they were watching from, who they were watching, and you have to say that the flurry of social media activity last night when Adam Peaty went inside that qualification standard time, he went very, very close to doing something special again, which he always does. I believe the third fastest of all times in that event again. He owns, I think, 7 of them.
Yeah.
Just 7. But here we are. We're talking about the future. And I know I was lucky enough to have Liam Tancock here, who's now obviously in a very similar situation to yourself, having been there and seen it and done it and won medals on the big stage. He's now able to look back and watch. And I actually said to him, and we'll do the same with you during the next deep, so think about your answer here. Would you remember what it was like at this point? You know, maybe the first time you turned up at a British Championship. So I'm going to come to you with that very question in heat number 2. Here in 1, 30.49 for Debbie Cocking of Rotherham, turning in first position. Alice Gulby of Millfield is second at the turn, but as they come down, it's the lady in the lime green in 4 who's keeping well ahead of the rest, although starting to come stronger is Murray in 5, but it will be Cocking. 103.71, 104.17 from Pia Murray. And Rachel Anderson from Millfield is the lady in 3rd. That's a solid start. It's a new personal best as well for Debbie Cocking. 105.35 was the original PB for the young lady from Rotherham. That's what you want, isn't it, at this age, at a British Championship, smashing it by nearly 2 seconds.
This is the part where things really make a difference and the young athletes like to either carry on or maybe they're thinking about going on to university and then doing events like this and races where they do 2-second PBs. It really makes you excited about it. But it's a long time ago, but I do remember doing 2-second PBs. Not so much in your older career, they're like 0.2 of a second PB, but still always makes you feel good about it.
So the start list for the second heat was up on the screen there. Robin Moon, Emma Harvey, Caitlin Hubbard, Carrie Fletcher Stables, Imogen Mears, Lucy Farmer, Honey Oswin and Brodie Judge. That's the official lineup. Go on then, I told you what question you were going to get. Remember this? Remember these nerve-wracking moments?
I do remember this. I actually, Sheffield was one of my first international big competitions that I did as a junior, moving from South Africa to Britain, and I qualified for my very first European juniors coming out here, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed kind of taking part in it, and like I just said a second ago, when you do those big PBs like 6, 7 seconds, 7 seconds, there's something really spectacular about that, and you're just buzzing, and it just starts to prove to you that actually training makes a difference, and that's when we start to get these young resilient athletes doing races and focusing on training.
You're still young enough to really want race training.
Yes.
It's all about discipline. Liam was talking about that last night. Christmas, birthdays, all that sort of stuff. In they come towards the backstroke flags, then 4 or 5 metres to go, and it's going to be lane 3, and that's Caitlin Hubbard. Second then goes to Honey Oswin. Absolutely going to lay it out there now. If you're a family member of Honey Oswin, if that's right, thank you. If it's wrong, I apologise. All these young swimmers come through, and it's we were working it out. Somewhere between 300 or 400 people at these events, and getting round to ask them all out. They say their names. Sometimes not the easiest task.
It can be a little tricky, and spellings of names as well. So we apologise.
Yeah, I was always told you should have a go. I completely missed the sport element of that, but having a go at talking, I'm all right with. Hubbard, Oswin, and Judge. Charlotte Fletcher Stables. Apologies a little bit earlier on, but Charlotte Fletcher Stables from Northampton. She finished down in 6th. It's a time of 104.73 that wins heat number 2. heat 3 now. Mia Slevin of Dementia, Eleanor Mitchell, London Aquatics, Rebecca Sutton, Bridget. City of Leeds have Sophie Hobart, Athena Clayson, Matt Kelly in 5, Isabel Jones of Millfield in 6, and then a little distance through the empty lane to another Millfield swimmer, and that's Harriet Perfect. Perfect surname. Clayson, Jones and Sutton with the lead. So yeah, remember, hashtag BSC17. You can see it above the running clock, so don't tell me you don't know what it is. It's right there on the screen. Hashtag BSC17. So if you want to send us a tweet, and obviously now you've got the wonderful Kerry-Ann next to us. If you've got any questions as well, we're more than happy to get that. And I've got a tweet here that says, absolutely loving the live stream coverage of the British Swimming Championships. There you go.
Thanks.
That's all we need. Thank you very much indeed. In they come. So it's Athena Clayson, 103.55. Second is Isabel Jones from Millfield, 103.86. And Rebecca Sutton coming in at 104.54. So Clayson's time, 103.55.
Looking back at the results, great performance from Debbie Cocking in that first heat. She went to 103.71, so she was really close to those events.
Move on to for just a couple of moments. The world of swimming is not exempt from technical gremlins, like anything where you add water and electric. Somewhere along the lines, you get the odd delay here and there. So the water's ready. These young ladies are ready. And there are 8 heats. So this will be number 4. We'll be halfway after this one. You can see the girls using those backstroke ledges to grip these odd columns in the backstroke.
Yeah, I feel a little bit like that's, in my day, we never had any of those things, and I just retired in January, but the wedges are fairly new. I think they seem to have made a big difference from all accounts up in Scotland, where I was training with Craig McNally. He was training and using that all the time, and it seemed to make quite a big difference. It's a very technical thing. You've got to learn how to do a slightly different start, and backstroke the start is a big part of the race. And those turns as well, it's where races are won and lost. So if you've got any edge, that's where you're going to get the go.
You're already saying back in my day. I can hear it. You're all back in my day. This is Courtney Price and Nova Centurion, who's going to lead us in here. It's Dyer, Platt, Price, Southwood, Welling, Sansom, Harris and Cox. It's tighter than a couple of the others we've had before. Courtney Price being pushed there by Eleanor Southwood of Ellesmere College Titans. Don't forget, tweet us where are you watching from, who you're looking out for, hashtag BSC17, hashtag stream. We would love to know who you're watching today. Lots of people yesterday should have been revising, and they were quite blatantly saying, well, I should be, but I'm not. So a lot of people are doing a bit of housework, and some people, of course, still enjoying half-term, munching their way through Easter eggs. They were giving them out yesterday. The competition here inside the venue was a giant egg on the screen, and it revealed a swimmer. It was beautiful. It was very fun indeed. Adam Peaty was inside one of the eggs, and I think Jan Scarlett was too.
Oh, nice.
We've got loads to give away here because, well, you guys can't eat them. Small delay as the backstroke ladies make their way out of the pool. You'll notice if this is your first watch of a swimming event, a little bit later on we'll do something called over the top starts. The one race will finish, the swimmers will be asked to go to the side of their lane whilst the next race starts. It just means that the show moves on at a steady pace, but obviously that's slightly more difficult with back. I've seen it done, but it is slightly more difficult with backstroke.
Yeah, you don't really want to be that close to someone while you're trying to do a dive, which is a big part of like I said, the start of the race. It's always interesting backstroke starts because you have to jump in and then get yourself prepared. Whereas if you're doing a race, you end up diving in, so you kind of get this almost shock or a little bit of an adrenaline rush when you get in for a dive. When you dive in and it's quite cold. but actually to have to jump in, it's pretty, ugh, I don't know. I was never a big fan of doing backstroke starts because it meant I had to get wet before I wanted to.
Now, obviously, we've talked at the top of the programme about the fact that there are 4 events that you can actually qualify for. You'll notice that we have junior finals, Target Tokyo finals, and they do really tell you what those finals are about. The wording in that is probably self-explanatory. Then, of course, we've got the main final, the chance to become a British champion, the chance to swim against the clock that's set by the selectors, and the chance to make it onto a team that it's a progressive team. And I think that's the key word. This isn't just a bog standard team. We are moving forward in exactly the right direction.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see actually that it's been quite different the last selection.
So the results on the board there for heat number 4. Apologies for the delay in that one. It was Courtney Price who took it in the end. Heat 5 coming up. You'll see those names on your screen in a couple of moments' time. They will be Bergen, Reed, Sherwin, Barber, Drew, Austin, McIntosh and Crane. Yeah, huge opportunity to represent. And we're not just talking about the senior team either. Some of these guys are going to get to go to Indianapolis, get to go to Israel, get to go to Hungary as well as the senior team got to Hungary, obviously the European Youth Olympic Festival in Hungary as well. And that's a multi-sport event, so it's a big opportunity for them to see what it's like if they can one day reach the Olympics, what it's like to be surrounded by thousands of athletes that aren't necessarily in your sport.
Yeah, that's a great, for me that was one of the best things about going to those kind of World Junior Games or something along the lines, was because actually you get to realise that swimming isn't just the be all and end all of everything. There is more to other sports train just as hard, and other sports get up just as early, and other sports are doing just the same things that you are, and it almost humbles you from a young age, and kind of grounds you back down to say, oh, actually, yeah, fair enough, there's a whole bunch of other people here. And you, especially in an event like that where there's more than just one swimming event, and someone does well, you get this boost in the whole team, so the whole of England, the whole of Great Britain just gets this amazing boost.
Yeah, we saw that in London, didn't we, with the athletics then leading on to the boat racing and other events. It just sort of built upon day. Here, this is fairly tight, probably the tightest for a group of people that we've had coming in, and at the wall it's going to go to Karen Reid, Edinburgh University, 103.82. Karen Reid swimming there from lane 2. Reid coming into this had a personal best of 103.31, so she's outside of that. We'll go away and chat to the coach and talk about improvements or whether that's being on track at this point of the season. And Chiara Barber of Hillingdon in second. Again, we're just awaiting the official results to come through there. Owen Gaskell says, can we talk about Jordan Gaskell? To withdraw for the 200 fly. Gutting. Now watching at home, so get well soon. Don't give up, get back in the pool, and as soon as you are fit enough, not too soon, as soon as you're fit enough, keep going. So yeah, of course we can give you a mention, that's not a problem. As we say, different outlook for streaming these days, and we're wanting to interact more so with the public. We want the people who are watching these programs to talk to us as much as we're talking to you as well. So if you've ever been to a British swimming event inside a venue, you'll know exactly how these things work. Got James Carlisle and Joanne Jackson on the microphones inside the venue this morning, so they're enjoying themselves. Again, Reid, Barber, McIntosh, the 1, 2, 3 in that last race. We'll be moving to heat 6 in just a few moments' time.
So we're on heat 6 now. We've got Newlands of Edinburgh University, Houghton of University of Stirling, Simpson of Aberdeen, Fuller Love of University of Bath. We've got Lauren Quigley from the City of Liverpool, Harriet Cooper, Loughborough University, Alexander Waller of Hearts of Midlothian, and we've got Amy Philpott of Team Ipswich. Got a nice first 50 here. They're all turning quite close together. Jessica Full of Love, 29.49 for that first 50.
Just Full of Love is one of those, we've had quite a lot of them actually coming out onto the start list for the first few days. One of those that has changed club, hoping to go in a new direction perhaps, or hoping to pick up on some new techniques from new coaching styles and a new environment. Lauren Quigley, City of Liverpool there, that's another change as well. Lexi Waller, that's one of the things I learned very early in my career when Lexi Waller turned up. Her mum came and said, that's fair enough. Lexi Waller out there for Harvard London. Jess Full of Love, who used to love being announced as Full of Love with lots of O's on the podium. 60.74, noticeably quicker now, all of a sudden, Kerry-Ann,
that's
than
the
what we
first
had.
heat, isn't it? The first conceded heat so far. So 60.73, just about 0.7 off what she was entered in on, but I think she should be pretty happy with that going into tonight. Lauren Quigley, 61.7. And then Kirsty Simpson of Aberdeen going 61 as well.
61.89. So Houghton, University of Stirling. It tells me she's moved recently as well. So the top four there. Full of Love, Quigley, Simpson, and Houghton. Next heat, of course, of our 8 will be heat 7.
So 2 more heats to go of this women's 100 backdrop. Lane 1 for City Derby, Helen Baldwin. Lane 2 for City Derby.
Going heat 7 then, Helen Baldwin of Derby, Georgia May Homan, Cardiff, Chloe Golding, City of Manchester Aquatics, Georgia Davies, Loughborough University, Edinburgh University's Elizabeth Simmons, Charlotte Evans, Loughborough University, Catherine Greenslade, Edinburgh University, and Martha Dooley, those from Colchester. Here they come at the turn, their one and only, and of course the 100 metres, and it's Davies and Simmons, 2 ladies you know fairly well.
Yeah, really well. Both have just changed programs as well. Georgia Davies is now out in Turkey with James Gibson, and then we've got Elizabeth Simmons, so she moved from Loughborough up to Edinburgh University. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they race. Lizzie's, her race is more the 200. Georgia, this is absolutely her race. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how she'll get on tonight, because it looks like she's pretty much going to make that first spot and a nice lane into the final for tonight. So
Coming in lane number 4, it is Georgia Davies who takes the touch, the 26-year-old. Personal best of 59.58 in the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow in 2014. And the reigning champion, alongside her 2015 champion. And a lady that's been silver medalist a couple of times. We had Lauren Quigley a little bit earlier on. Jessica Full of Love, bronze medal last year. She was also in the last heat. They now have to sit and wait to see who they, or if they, will make that final. So there's heat 7 results for you. Davies, Simmons, Golding, Evans, Greenslade, Georgia May Homan, and Baldwin and Dooley. And we move on now to the final heat of these women's 100 metres backstroke. Paul Dooley says, "Go Martha Dooley." Of course he would. Of course. Quite surprised if he tweeted anything else. So don't forget, hashtag BSC17, hashtag stream. They use the same hashtag for the venue and the live stream, so it just helps us out. Not reading out people's tweets who are sat across from us, basically. Although you can watch, obviously, the stream live. You've got various different options. You've got your phone, you've got your tablet or device, you've got your computer. And those of you that are smart enough to hook your computer up to your TV, aren't you clever? Harriet West goes here in 1 for Loughborough University. Anna Main of Woking in 3, no lane 2 here. University of Stirling, Kathleen Dawson. 4, Katrina Avramova of Ealing. Cassie Wilde of Ellesmere in 6. Lily Boasley, City of Sheffield in 7. Molly Allen, City of Peterborough in 8. Of course, you've got smart TVs these days as well. I think you've got to be smart to have one, so I haven't. Dawson from Maine, from Wilde.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how Kathleen Dawson does here. This is kind of, she is the big dog on this race right now, and it's probably one of the first times that she has been, it's always been Georgia Davies, so she seems to be, taking that grip with her teeth and just going with it. It's a great first 50, 29.20, and now we're coming into the last bit. She's almost a whole body length ahead of second place, but we'll only be able to find out when she touches that wall. which she did in a 101.10 on our screens at the moment, which is a little slower than the rest of the girls, but she did look like she was on her own in that race.
I saw yesterday with James Guy shooting from lane 2. It's about getting into the final, as Liam pointing out last night. No medals are won in the heats. And it is that game plan mentality, isn't it? I need to save something for the final, but I've got to make sure I get there. That's a balance, isn't it?
Yeah, real balance, and it's quite interesting. Usually you'll see that the final heat is always the fastest swimmer in that when they seed heat. So by that I mean that they put the fastest in the last one, the second fastest one on the heat before, and the third fastest, usually 3 seeded heats. But that means then that the person in that first seeded heat, so in this occasion it was Jessica Fullerlove, she had to work really hard to make sure that she did a good time. She had to be the one to put that stamp on what that event was, and she did. And she's now gone in as the fastest from what we from the notes that I've taken so far anyway, that she's got that 60.74.
I meant to make notes. Nobody told me that.
I'll make notes first. So it's really interesting, and then it's a little slower for Georgia Davis, and then again for Kathleen there, but it'll be really interesting final tonight, I think, for 3 of those girls.
We saw some cracking junior and target Tokyo finals last night as well, and last year as well, and this introduction of we're not just looking for the winners of everything, we're actually looking for the ones who can show us progression, who can show us that they might be able to win a medal, not just this year, but maybe in 3, 4, 5, beyond that. We had a 13-year-old in the pool last night, fastest qualifier into one of those races as well, and that's an outstanding achievement straight away. So there you saw the results. Dawson was given 16.26, Anna Main 61.72, and Avramova 61.78, just 6
Interesting there that actually now Kathleen is in front. She's now got the fastest time, so they're just changing a timing pad at the moment, which is clearly a reason for why we're just a little delayed and why her time came up as a little slower on the first one. So great swim there from Kathleen. She really wanted to prove a point, and she did that. And she's exactly as you said, she was one of those juniors. She was the one from the last few years that was in the Tokyo finals or in the Rio finals beforehand, and now she's really showing her own as a senior athlete.
We were saying this with the selectors when we had a meeting before the event started. We actually said, wouldn't it be great, and we obviously want to talk about this as we can, but wouldn't it be great 1 year after Rio that we're starting to talk about people who are winning target Tokyo finals, winning or at least medaling in the senior finals, because as the saying goes, the proof in the pudding. We're looking at them, we're investing in them, time, resource, money, whatever it may be, and then the next year they're going, do you know what, I'm going to pay you back, bang, here's a goal.
There you go, absolutely, and that's what a lot of these guys do. It's it's really great to have someone put that bit of faith into you and behind you and go, you know what, actually I can do this and I will do this. And then if you're one of those rare youngsters that actually make it to the senior final and don't choose a Tokyo final, then for me that's always a bonus.
On the website, you've got the whole page right there. Click on it, and you can check out the beautiful sounds of Alan March taking you through that live stream.
So next up will be the men's 200 metres fly event. So the timing pad has been changed. Actually, they've like a Formula 1 pit stop. They've actually done 2 timing pads without you noticing, so that was pretty good. 200 fly, 200 breast for women after that. Men's 100 back, women's 800 metres freestyle. The fastest heat of that will be swum this evening during the session. Women's 50 fly and men's 50 metres backstroke, all still to come this morning as well. So this is heat number 1. We have Thomas Balfour in lane number 3. Joel Weston goes for City of Leicester in lane number 4. Jack Toe, City of Sheffield, goes in lane number 5. I don't know about you, but they're all born in the millennium year, and I feel really old.
No, you're right, don't worry.
What do you mean, yes, you're old, don't worry? No, thank you. No, don't worry about it. Away they go, and the 3 of them in a 200 fly. I always look from the outside and think this is the one that looks like it hurts the most. 200 metres of pure butterfly.
There is a couple of events, this is definitely one of them that does hurt. If you do anything wrong, if you go out a little too hard, you can just see when that elephant sits on your back on that last 50 metres. I used to quite enjoy doing 200 butterflies because my mantra always was at that third part of the race, race was almost the most important part, and that's where I really started to push things. And down the last bit of the race was always the, you know, whatever you had left kind of thing. But this event, a fauna medley, that's another one. If you do bad things at the beginning, could hurt a lot.
I saw a couple yesterday in the sort of early 400-metre heats. A couple of the youngsters, off they went over 200 metres, and by about the last 75, it looked like they were going backwards, a sort of moonwalk swim, if you like. And it just hurts, doesn't it? You've misjudged it. You've gone wrong in your tactics. You've gone out too hard, and all of a sudden that water feels like lead.
It totally does. But this is where we learn these kinds of things. This is where all these youngsters in their first team, absolutely, they get to learn, actually, I went out too fast. And for me, it's great to hear that coaches are starting to now review things, even races like this with 13, 14-year-old kids, saying what could have gone better, how could you have done that, you know, what was the race plan, did you stick to it, didn't you stick to it? And there's a lot more emphasis on the youngsters. So looks like Joel Weston there from City of Leicester touched in a 2:05.70. If that's his time, then that's a big PB, because I think he was entered in on a 2:09.06. So great PB from him. Then those are up there. Second place was Jack Toe, 2:08. He also looks like he's under his best time. Thomas Balfour. So it looks like those three did absolutely the job that they came in to do.
Well, Weston's PB actually goes back as far as 2015 British Summer Champs, 2:08.73. So it's still smashed. Nonetheless, so well, Danilo swam at that one event in the British Summer Champs back in 2015, and that record stood since then. So 2:05.70, and you do get swimmers who, even at young ages, can get dips. You know, they look good. Then the next few years, you think, where have they gone? And all of a sudden, they reappear again. And you know, I remember speaking to Jo over the past, and she used to say to me, at junior level, I was nothing special, and it just sort of kicked in all of a sudden at sort of 18, 19, and away I went.
Yes, the resilience of swimmers, and the ones that can deal with, you know, all those things down as youngsters, and then, you know, you come back up, and you know, you have bad times, you have school, you have exams, you get injured. There's just so many different things.
As they come to the wall, this is heat number 2. Then Henry Dixon, Ewan Cowan, Thomas Brew, Leo Karski. No lane 5 here. James Woodward. We've got Tony, Joe, Trent, Oliver. All those names. All in there. Switch for Mount Kelly. He's in the mix at the moment. I'd say as they come up to halfway, he's going to be about second. It's close between he and Karski, but at the moment Woodward of Potter's Bar is the man in control. 59.10. Those three inside a minute. The others not so much so. Dixon 60.67 in fourth.
It's been an interesting race for lane 4. You know, he's not got anybody next to him. So for Leo, he's not got anybody next to him. In butterfly, you can't really see 2 or 3 lanes past you. You can see someone in your peripheral and in the lane next to you. It's only at this turn now that you get to see if anybody is in front of you or behind you. So he'll be taking a good look, I'm sure, at this turn here to check where he is in the field to see what he can do on this last 15.
Harder when it's spread out as well, because you can only look one way.
Yeah, you can have a little look underwater. You're not encouraged to, but you can have a little look underwater. I think James Goddard is probably the person who did that the most when he was swimming. He was all about looking around, seeing where he'd go. You see someone like Chad Lacrosse, he does that quite a lot on the world stage to see where he is and what he's doing.
To be fair, his dad could just shout it to him and you'd hear it. But good old Bert. Steve Weston is just showing off. I'm watching live stream on a big screen TV. Define big. Tony, Joe, Trent, Oliver has to settle for second in the end. James Woodward really holding on at 2:05.93, and in fact wins by a whole second from Trent Oliver in 2:06.93, and Henry Dixon in 2:07.42. So Woodward's time 2:05.93.
Another big PB by the looks of things from
yeah, it is.
From James there, 2:08.70. So a nice big chunk of time off for him. He doesn't look too tired either, which is always a nice thing to do. I used to always do what I used to call an Arnie face. So as soon as you finish, you just take in deep breaths, you smile, you look as good as you can, so no one else around you can see that you're tired.
One of those, I'm in so much pain.
Yeah, but I'm totally fine. Totally fine.
Living through it, it's great. Keep those tweets coming in, really enjoying them. Where are you watching the stream from? Myself, Alan Martin, Kerry-Ann Payne. If you've got any questions, normally for Kerry-Ann, have you got any questions, please do fire them away at us. Hashtag BSC17, hashtag stream as well. We're interacting here in 2017. It's a new cycle, it's a new dawn, new branding, new sponsors, new commentators, new people, so why not try something new as well? And so we're actually chatting to you at home. You know what? Swimming is fun, and we just want to remind the British public of that.
Absolutely.
So heat 3 now. Goodman of Millfield, Alvin Kelly of Newcastle, Max McCusker from Millfield, 2 Millfield swimmers in 1 and 3 there. Harrison Coulter, Stockport Metro, Kane Murcott, Wolverhampton, Thomas Downs from Exeter City, and Mark Elric. We're now starting to see some swimmers here, Kerry-Ann, who've did 2 events yesterday, maybe finalled as well. Now they're back in the water again here. It's good for them to get the exposure, but it does hurt towards the start to the end of the week, doesn't it? The more events you do, the more tired you become. But it is all part of the coaching, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always think that if someone has the 200 butterfly within their British Championships or whatever competitions that they're doing, it generally means that they are robust and they can deal with a few different events. You know, a lot of people will be using this if they're maybe not quite thinking they can go to the World Championships. They're maybe not quite as good enough, but they're just on the cusp. They're not European juniors or World Junior ages. This is a great opportunity for them in year 1 to really work on things that they might not have been able to work on before. You know, I know we saw last night some really great performances, especially from Adam Peaty, but year 1 after the Olympics tends to be a bit of a slower year. So this is a great opportunity for those youngsters who didn't take a huge time off after the summer, because that was just a normal year for them, and they're back in and they're training really hard, you know, to make those differences and those gains and try new things.
I saw some fantastic performances. Imogen Clark and Ellie Faulkner last night in front of the home crowd. There was a whole host of City of Sheffield junior swimmers up in the crowd. They made all sorts of atmosphere. And Ellie Faulkner actually got straight out of the pool and fair play to her. She sort of doffed her cap towards that crowd and said, you know, thank you, that is really, really good. And there she is. She's British champion again.
Yeah. Great to see her doing well, especially in her home pool as well. I think sometimes it can be quite scary going back to racing in your home pool.
Thomas Downs touches in 2:04.97. We're going to clear up the times coming in to us in a couple of moments. It appears Downs has taken it. The cap's off. A nod, a little nod of approval. You all look up at the score, but I've been watching you for years now. You look up, look at your time. There's either a nod or a grimace. You see a few slapped waters in the hand. You know, that's how you kind of know they're angry.
I used to love it when it was the other way and the board was the other way, and I used to wait as long as I possibly could before I turned around, just to see what the result was. Sometimes it was like, whoa, yay, check me out. And sometimes it was like, oh no, let me get out.
There's the famous image from we're coming up to actually swinging the British Para International Swim Meet is coming up next week, and there's a famous image of Susie Rogers winning her gold at the Paralympics in Rio and just sort of hanging from the lane and looking back, and there's just the shocked look on her face. I think it made a lot of the tabloid papers as well. And as you say, just that chance to look back and sort of, oh, hello, that's my name.
Yeah, the same. So one of my training partners for the last few years was a guy called Scott Quinn, and he won a silver medal at the Paralympics. He wears glasses and he couldn't see when he broke the world record. He didn't know in the semi-final. He didn't know that he did that. He had to say to the guy next to him, "What time does that say?" And he was like, "You broke the world record." He was like, "Ah, cool."
Cool. That's heat number 4. So away they go. That shot from the diving board here inside Ponsford International Sports Centre. If you've never been here, the diving boards at the 50-metre turn end. Freddie Woodward trains here. Training with him yesterday. Diving had a successful time in Rio as well. So you look at divers with time envy, sleep envy. I know you do. I've spoken to enough diving swimmers to know that you see a diver and think, why don't you have to get up at 5? Let's have a look at this. Sam Daly, we'll talk about diving, that's completely accidental. Sam Daly of Plymouth Leander goes in 1. Matthew George, City of Salford in 2. Joseph Porter of Loughborough University in 3. Edward Rednick of Ealing goes in 4. think I've got that right. Charlie Hutchinson, Ellesmere in 5. I know his uncle. Freddie Clampett, I have no idea why. Plymouth Leander goes in 6. Archie Goodburn at Warren Bar Club goes in 7. And Kieran Bird of Millfield goes in lane number 8. Early doors, Edward Rednick of Ealing, he would be.
Yeah, doing really well there. 58.34 for that first 100. Now we're starting to see the times, they'll start to drop a little more. Looking forward to seeing how Archie Goodburn gets up on in lane 7 there from my old swim club, Warren Baths. He's a real junior who's had a lot of time to grow in the program that he's been in with Warren Dare. Lots of time to race well, to learn the skills, to go through those processes, and he's touching in there just in 3rd place on that turn. So really great to see that the youngsters really are thinking, you know what, it's my time to step up, because we had such a young Olympic team, the likes of Adam. He came from doing no real big competitions to then being an Olympian, and now it's great to see that. And see there's Archie. He's like, I've got nothing to lose. I am just going to do my race, and I'm going to go out there. So it's a really interesting last from Archie. That's very impressive swimming. I can't wait to see what time he hits when he gets the ball.
This is a good final 50 indeed. Archie Goodman 2:02.75. His entry time 2:05.81. Done at the British Summer Champs last year, where he swam numerous events. But Goodman here smashing through that 2:05.81. You'd have to believe that's a PB from him. Joseph Porter 2:03.81. George 2:04.48.
And the smile on his face just proves that he's absolutely happy with that swim. He's very much a resilient race. He's really worked hard on doing lots of different races. So for him, it's about working out, just as a youngster, Warrender's program is very much based around doing lots of medley training. So do medley, 200, 400 medley, and you do all the 200s as well. So it just it's making him a more resilient swimmer. So when he gets a little older and he can make it onto that senior team, he's actually got a good opportunity to choose what event he wants to do.
Here's an interesting question for you, and not one that I've asked on a regular basis, but once you come away from the local team as a youngster, what do you look for? Or does a club choose you? Is it a double-edged sword?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely that double-edged sword, and for someone like Archie, his results there are up. Archie in a 2:02.75. Great to see that. He will have worked really hard on doing a medley program, which is what he was always, asked to do. He's still within Warren, is still in a home program, and what people are looking for is someone who isn't going to get injured every 5 minutes, someone who is on time, someone who has done pre-pool since they were 10 years old. It's part of the routine. Everyone's looking for more mature athletes, younger, and that's what a lot of clubs are now focusing on are the youngsters and making the program very successful from a young point of view, not in terms of results necessarily, but in terms of actually making their athletes resilient, robust, and professional.
My 10-year-old daughter came home from one of her very first really big club lessons, and the next day went, my legs hurt. From that moment on, she understood that it wasn't just swimming in a pool anymore. Well done to her for making the Ely Barracudas team. Kyle Chisholm. Some people cry after their first training sessions. They don't make it. No, they do generally. Kyle Chisholm, Borough Kirklees in 1. Thomas Bealey, Aberdeen in 2. Sam Horrocks, City of Manchester in 3. Jay Lellian, a very lovable character from Bath University on the far side in 4. Sorry, in the middle. Thomas Payne, City of Manchester equates in 5. Callum Reid, Warren the Bath Club in 6. Jacob Jackson of Ellesmere in 7. And Max Jameson of Thanet Swim, the Thanet Swim Club Twitter account, saying good luck to everybody swimming here today. Our friends out in Kenya are back to watching the big screen. People out in Mombasa.
Wow. So this will be the first heat again of those seeded heats. And again, just another shout out to Warren there, because Callum Reid's done such a good job so far. He's now training with Archie all the time, and they're really pushing each other. Maybe it looks a little bit like he went out a bit too hard. I think, we spoke briefly earlier about, when things tend to sort of hit you down, but he's done a great job so far. It'd be interesting to see what time that he hits when he finishes here. But
Thomas Payne, it's going to be who's going to take it though. In fact, Reid has to settle for 4th through the unofficial results at the moment. So it's Payne, Lellian and Horrocks. We'll get those official results on your screen in a moment. They've come through here in the venue. Reed, Bealey, Jameson, Jackson, Chisholm is the full lineup. I was saying to Liam Sancock in commentary last night, Kerry Ann, I was chatting with Jay Lellick and his coach Mark Skipping yesterday, and Jay just turned to Mark and went, I'm going to go and do this. Mark just sort of nodded and went, oh, fair enough, okay. So sort of choosing his own programme, I suppose. Right, next up, Joshua Racebeck of Doncaster Darts, Sean Campsey, City of Glasgow, Richard Nagy, City of Sheffield, Cameron Brodie, University of Stirling, Duncan Scott, equally of University of Stirling, Matthew Donville, Warrington, Kevin Warbank, Loughborough University, James Wilkes goes for Leatherhead on the far side from our commentary position in the white cap. It's right down the centre who got some of the quicker swims, and indeed Cameron Brodie pushed down to fourth. In fact, Kevin Warbank in seventh just about got there, and Campsey in two, then came in second. So actually looked like Brodie and Scott have got the better of the starts. They've work to do here.
Yeah, you would just absolutely never, put Duncan Scott down though. He is a really experienced 200 swimmer, and she now he'll come into this and he'll think this first 100, don't really know what's going to happen, but I'm just going to give it a go. And I love watching freestylers do events like this. We've got James Guy coming up pretty soon as well on this event, and there's just a difference in this kind of race. Cameron Brodie is in this one as well, and he'll want to prove that he's got the better 200 of the two of the University of Stirling guys in this race. But Duncan's not really got anything to lose because it's not really his event.
No, absolutely, and you can say the same for James, I suppose, in the next one. We've got 156.59 as a personal best for Cameron Brodie. He's moved himself up into third position.
Matthew Donville's had a great race so far. He's obviously thought, I don't really care who's in this race, I'm going to go out and do my own performance, and with less than 25 metres to go now, he's still up there.
As they come into the wall, do you know what? Fair play Matthew Donville, he's gone for that. 159.43. That's inside the entry time we have here, 2:01.24. So well done to Donville. The rest of the results, just waiting for those in a moment. Heat 7 then. Jacob Peters from Poole, Joe Litchfield, City of Sheffield, Luke Howdle, City of Sheffield, James Guy, Bath University, Michael Gunning, London Aquatic Centre, Ryan Brown, City of Glasgow, Mason Wilby, Loughborough University, and James Baxter of Wickham District.
So it's a good start on this this first 50. We've got James Guy in this race. He had a good heat yesterday. Got a good swim, yesterday in his freestyle events. I know that he absolutely loves doing butterfly. He loves training for it. So having the opportunity to actually come out and race and do 200 butterflies, I know that he is really looking forward to doing this swim, and he needs to now kind of do a good heat. He doesn't want to go too hard because he's got a couple of other races to do towards the end of the week, but he'll want to make sure he puts in a good performance.
So still more people sending us their tweets. Hashtag BSC17. Somebody saying a North Cornwall Dragon swimmer travelling up to watch the finals and heats at the weekend. We welcome you into the building. So we've got Peters, Litchfield, Howell, Guy, Gunning, Brown, Wilby, Baxter, and at the moment it is James Guy having the best of it. Personal best in this event of 157.09. Doesn't appear on the podium last time. And Adam Mallet was the winner last time. Mark Serranic, another name we all know. Jay Elliott, who we've seen in one of the earlier heats, and Cameron Brodie, who we just saw a few minutes ago. Here's a trier, Michael Gunning. He's always somebody I admire, and just never gives up and keeps on going.
And he's also one of the nicest guys.
Absolutely.
I met him just recently while I was in London at the Aquatic Centre, and I was just asking how he was getting on, and he just, you know, he is such a try, and you can see him now come down that last 50. He just wants it so bad, and he trains so hard. You know, he's putting in the absolute best performance that he can when you're swimming next to someone like James Guy, who's doing an event that's a fun event really for him and doing it so well. I can't imagine sometimes how hard that can be, but you know, this is only the heat. There's still another race to come tonight. This will be a chance for a lot of these guys to have a blowout of their first races. So James has already had that. And on our results here, it looks like James Guy won with the 1:59.04. Those will be confirmed on your screens shortly, with Joe Litchfield from City of Sheffield in second, and then Luke Howden of City of Sheffield in third. Michael Gunning fourth on that one with 2 minutes 1:06. There's the results on screen.
So there they are. James Guy, Joe Litchfield, Luke Howdell. 1:59.04. It's not a record threatener. Still goes back to 2009. Michael Rock. 1:54.58.
Michael Rock. I do miss training with Michael Rock. I used to swim with him at Stockport Metro, and he was an amazing guy. I've seen him do some swims where he had an elephant and 5 other elephants on his back before. One in particular I remember out in South Africa. It was an altitude training camp we were on, and we were doing a race up at altitude, and it was a really interesting race to watch him do that. But he was a real fighter and always made sure that, you know, when he got to these kinds of events, he'd practiced all of his process goals. He practiced the start, he practiced the finish, he practiced the turns, so that he could put in his absolute best performance at these champs and then again in the summer.
So once again, hashtag BSC17, hashtag stream. Dawn Merkles has got up to Laura Hawkins the 200 breaststroke. That's exactly what's coming up in just a few moments' time here. The British Swimming Championships 2017. Carrie Ann taking time out to take a picture. Why not? Tweet. Why not, indeed? We are ready with heat number 1. And you see the 3 ladies that will take part, should I say, in this first heat. Ayana Lawson, Celia Milton Keynes goes in 3. Chelsea Crabtree goes in 4. Shauna Johnson goes in 5. Once again, welcome to the coverage of day 3. Day 3, I'm moving forward here. Day 2 of the British Swimming Championships. I'm just wishing my life away. Here at Ponsford International Sports Centre, Alan Marsh alongside me, Kerry Ann Payne. We hope to have a plethora of guests as we did yesterday. We were joined by Joe Jackson, Jimmy Goddard. We also had Liam Hancock up here as well. It was great to get sort of feedback on various different events. And we were talking about Michael Rock a couple of moments ago there, Kerry Ann. Obviously Joe Jackson, another that still has a record in the books, and you know, it's hard to push past, and there's quite a few of those actually as you go through the record books. As good as we are being in the pool, there are certain events that we just can't budge our own British records along.
Yeah, I think there are
this
a few
isn't
events.
one of them, by the way.
This is one of them. No, this one we've done a good job just recently on this one. There are a few events, and I think as youngsters and what British swimming are trying to achieve with this next cycle, what they had to build on from the last 4 years from London, is actually to push these juniors on, to create a culture that actually is about youngsters stepping up, and this event especially being like a tick box exercise if you're a junior coming into this new regime, if you like. So you will end up going to the summer having done the British Championships. You've qualified, you've done the thing, you can then focus on training, and you go to the major meet and you perform your best of the season at that meet. So we might not see that many British records broken here at this competition. We'd love that, it would be absolutely amazing, but for me, I'd love to see those breakthrough British swimming performances happening at the big meets on the major stage, so that we're continuing to be one of the best nations at the big meets.
And this, I've been listening to a few things and a few people discuss the 200 breaststroke. And this could be one of the interesting ones. You know, we had a big breakthrough last year from Chloe Tutton, Molly Renshaw as well, really starting to feel the benefits of her training regimes, and that's great. But actually, now even more so, we're also looking at, there might be even more surprises, even more youngsters coming through in this one. I think Katie Matt is very promising.
Yeah.
Jocelyn Uldian is another to perhaps look out for as well. And in the mix there, Georgia Coates and Emma Day have some pretty decent entry times as well. They're the fastest five, but you've also got Abby Woods just in behind, Layla Black just in behind that. And those years of birth going backwards in the ages. So Ayana Lawson will win this first 200 breaststroke. These will be the ladies that, like we're having that conversation there about those five, these will be the ones that are maybe 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
Maybe when we're targeting the next Olympic cycle. These three there will be hoping that they're in that mix. So Lawson from Johnson from Crabtree. That gives us heat one, and you can see the tired expressions of some of these ladies. 200 metres flat out, and they're just glad to have a lane rope to have a lean on, really.
Breaststroke is a very interesting event. There aren't very many swimmers who can do breaststroke and do other events really well. I'm so excited to see Georgia Coates swim this, because she went to the Olympics, but she was doing sprint freestyle, and now we've got her here doing 200 breaststroke. And I just had a very brief conversation with their coach over there from the City of Leeds, and they were saying, if she really focused on this could be one of her best events. But if she really focused on that could be best event. If she really focused on that could be her best event. So she's just 18. She's just stepping onto that real senior team. She can't make any of the junior teams anymore. So she's got a great opportunity this year to try out a couple of different things and see, where she wants to go and what she wants to do with the next 4 years, and becoming that more resilient swimmer.
Talk about Molly Renshaw later on in the programme. 6th place finish out in Rio. And as agonising as that sounds, she should also take that as a massive compliment to where she is now and how much she's improving. But again, taking a look at the future, Maya Little, City of Oxford in 2, Alexandra Bartley, City of Birmingham in 3, Miranda Bauer, Burnley in 4, Madeleine Hardingham of Newcastle in 5, Victoria Dawson, Southport in 6, and Daisy Anderson of Thanet Swim goes in 7. And I always love the breaststroke in the IM event. It's just amazing to watch those that go, I don't like this bit, and they start to go backwards. They start to do the whole treading water thing, and I do love the breaststroke element of the IM.
Well, you have to try and be as streamlined as you can for most of this race. There's so many different forces that kind of you're fighting. There's the propulsion you're choosing, you're creating, going through. But drag is just, it's a stronger force that you're fighting, especially with an event like breaststroke, because you're having to bring your whole body out of the water and then coming back out now. And it's great, the first part of the race is really cool because you're feeling good and you've got that, and then when you turn on that third turn for this 200 breaststroke, it then starts to hurt. It starts to become hard to be as streamlined as you can. You've got to use the muscles that you've been using for the whole way through. So sometimes this race is about kind of getting through it, learning as you go along how to be a bit more streamlined in the water.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kerry Ann, after 6 days of action here in the Commons, we've got to mind the swimmers. People like you and me and our producer will need a holiday, and if the Tajira Beach Hotel keeps tweeting us, then we'll be asking for a free one. So there we go. Let's see if we can all go to Mombasa. That'd be great. I'm too busy. Unfortunately, that's the unfortunate part. Where have you been?
Oh, are you commenting on the colour that I have? Yeah, I've just been out to an island in the Caribbean called Nevis. So we were out there with my new business venture, and we were out there kind of doing a couple of things, doing a race, doing a sporting retreat, but also trying to teach people on the island to swim. So, there is, 80% of the people on this island can't swim, and what we decided, as a company, it's called Triscape, for us to teach people how to swim. So we decided to do a Coach the Coaches initiative. Rather than teaching 20 kids how to swim, we decided to teach 10 coaches how to coach their 20 swimmers, so that next time we go next year, we've got a whole bunch of swimmers.
We'll talk to you more about that in just a second. Miranda Bauer of Burnley Bobcats takes this in 2:41.20. That's the one first heavy breath she lets out there as she starts to think about getting enough energy to take the cap off in a moment. Second, Maya Little, City of Oxford in 2, and then Daisy Anderson finishing in lane 7. So quite wide, a wide spectrum of lanes getting the 1, 2, 3 there. Fourth was Hardingham, then Dawson, and then Bartley. So we'll have 3 in just a second. So remind us of the name of this new venture, and you've just kind of looked me up and down, and I think your eyes say there's no hope for me.
No, that's absolutely not true. So Triscape it's called, and my dream clients, if you like, are people that can't swim or people that want to learn how to do water swimming. I absolutely love helping people learn how to swim, and you know the techniques. And I talked a bit earlier about drag and the propulsion. That's a lot of what we do. It's about helping people be more confident in the water so that they can take up this sport, which I absolutely love.
There is a big challenge in me. I once lost a 20-metre swim race against a retired Paralympian, and I lost it because I crashed into a wall.
How did you crash
I
into a
can't swim in a straight line. I don't know.
Ah, well.
That's
Straight line swimming.
I think it's an ear thing.
You think, no, it will be probably a breathing thing, and I
I'm
will leave
working
you
on the
with
ear
that
thing.
thought.
I have a breathing thing with steps, but that's a complete different story. Ellie Riley, hard on Midlothian, goes here in lane 1, or at least she's scheduled to. I struggle to see lane 1 from here. Laura Hawkins, Royal Wolverhampton, there she is, Ellie. Olivia Heron of Stockport Metro, winging away in lane 3. Kayla van der Merwe of Bournemouth goes in 4. Alicia Wilson of Guildford in 5. Hannah Sheehan of Wigan Best in 6. Eleanor Cowan, Wickham District in 7. Erin Davies, City of Birmingham in 8.
So this is, you know, down that second 50. Nice line, really, with all the girls. Nobody really making a big push to start with. Great to see Kayla van der Merwe there from Bournemouth. That's a nice South African surname, which you know, threw me a second ago. I haven't seen a real South African surname for a while. I don't know if she is from South Africa. If anybody knows her, then let us know if she's from somewhere around that side of the world. Coming into that first 100 now, lane 6. We've got, you know, a little bit of a break here with Hannah Sheena from Wigan Best. She's decided to make her mark on this 200 breaststroke.
So it's Sheehan from Cowan at the turn, but I can tell you that it's Hawkins that immediately gets the better of the turns, and she's actually leading a bit of a charge on this near side. Hawkins and Heron stalking Sheehan as she heads down to the final 50-metre turn here at Ponsford International Sports Centre. Once again, thank you to all of those that are joining us on their live stream, whatever way you're doing it, through your phone, your tablet, your computer, or through your television. Hashtag BSC17, hashtag stream. We really want to hear from you. We really want to interact. And good luck to Mark Campbell of the Dolphin Swim Club in the 50 breaststroke today. That comes in from Erin Burke. Not sure we needed the picture of him in his trunks by the side of the pool, but there you go. If you want to follow the timeline, ladies and gentlemen, if a man in trunks on a picture does it for you, then you've got loads of those on the timeline at the moment. So get yourself on there. Racing away, this is pretty dominant from Hannah Sheehan.
She's done a great job here. She picked that first 100 to make her move, and that's exactly what she did. The fastest time we've had so far on a 2:37.58 from Hannah from Wigan.
Second for Hawkins, second for Heron from Hawkins. Those two really tussling at the 150 mark, but Heron getting away eventually. So over a second between Sheehan and Heron. According to our screens, over a second between Heron and Hawkins. But, the lady with the word best written on her cap was indeed best in heat number 3.
Yeah, and nice. Looks like it was 2 seconds. It's only 2 seconds under entry time. If that was her PB as well, that's a nice little drop down from that swim. Still just waiting for those results to be official on your screens.
Chloe Tutton. To the Molly Renshaw, she'll be in the final here as well.
So it gives you a chance to remind you there's still plenty more to come here in the heat session of day number 2, the men's 100 backstroke, women's 800 freestyle, and you know, some people are itching to not swim a women's 800 freestyle. Kerry-Ann Payne is itching to commentate on it.
Watching it from the side and very much looking forward to it.
Far less painful.
Yeah, it's really interesting actually being on this side of the of the pool, if you like. Normally I would be down on the poolside, and I couldn't help myself this morning. And I think if I'm lost and you can't find me anywhere, I will be on poolside talking to people.
Maybe we can turn you into, in the Formula 1 they have the roving reporter around the poolside. We're just going to
Yes.
send you with a microphone and go and chat with a couple of coaches and see what that happens. I'm not sure the coaches how they'll take that at all. They look awkward on Formula 1. So I don't know what these coaches are going to do to deal with that. But I don't know. Actually, there's a fair few coaches down here, and you'll know exactly what I mean. But there's a fair few down here. It'd actually be harder to stop them talking than it would be to get them to talk to you in the first place.
Well, if I'm late any day, that's why.
So Eleanor Cowan, a slight tech issue at the second, but Eleanor Cowan in 8 in this heat. In fact, we're going to hang on for a second. That's the back end of heat number 3. So we're just waiting for the official graphics to come through on your screen, but we can tell you who's in here. 1 is Rebecca Wynn of Coventry. Amelia Monaghan of City of Peterborough is in 2. Daria Poma Kostic of Maidenhead goes in 3. Kaylee Parker of Street in 4. Maya Hall, Loftus Dolphins, goes in 5. That was the tweet a few moments ago. We've got City of Peterborough's Lauren Harrison in 6. Abigail Jack, City of Leeds, in 7. And Elizabeth Kingham, already another of those names that's sticking on the mind and has swum several times already. So Kingham back in the water, swimming in lane 8 here. She'll turn around about 7th position. So eyes up to the scoreboard in the venue for now, and it's the lady in lane 1 that's had the better of the first 100. So Rebecca Wynn looking for a win.
Nicely done then.
Thanks.
So the races will start to get a little quicker now again. We're starting to get towards the end of the non-seeded heats. The seeded heats will come pretty soon. We'll have the likes of, Molly Renshaw and Chloe Tutton as well going through. But this looks like it's going to be a pretty tight finish potentially for a couple of those girls. Turning first then in the heat. So we're coming up now. It's all getting a little bit more tight. The girls are starting to have to really work hard at being in front. Lane 2, Amelia, she'll see that there's someone coming up on the side of her, but she'll just want to win. But then on the other side, lane 7, we've got Abigail Jack. She's going to be trying her best on that side. She can't see anyone. Interesting finish between these two girls. Stroke rates are starting to try and pick up. I think Abigail might just have that, and she does have that.
Absolutely, Abigail Jack really holding off with a very strong finish there. She wouldn't have seen it, but we could on this near side. Both Monaghan and Wynn were pushing very, very hard, and sometimes the issue is if you're on the far side and the other two are battling against each other, they get lost in their own little tussle, and they weren't really paying attention, or they probably couldn't even see Abigail Jack on the far side. So she had the better of the run-in, should we say? And the lady in the yellow cap leaning against the rope, desperate to be able to get out of the water, but she's got a victory. 2:34.25, and there we go. Jack, Monaghan and Wynn, that's exactly right on your screen. So that is heat 4 done and dusted, and heat 5 is now underway. And who have we got here? Lucy Ross from East Kilbride goes in 1. Lily Booker of City of Bristol goes in 2. City of Sunderland's Rachel Taylor goes in 3. Rebecca Klein, City of Leeds, in 4. Keelan Fitton, Borough of Kirklees, in 5. Sophia Wilson, Millfield, in 6. Natasha Fenton, City of Oxford, in 7. And Isla MacDonald of Northampton goes in lane 8.
In 3, Rachel Taylor of City of Sunderland. In 4, Rebecca Klein of the City of Leeds. In lane 5,
at the first 50, Klein's from City of Leeds, from Taylor, City of Sunderland, from Booker, City of Bristol. It's all about the cities.
It's always good as well. I know we talk about racing events and trying to represent your country, but there is also something so good about coming here and racing for your club. You see all these people every single day. You see a coach every single day, pretty much, maybe apart from Sundays. Some clubs do some on Sundays. And to come here and to put that hat on, when you get the hat, especially if it has your name on it as well, it's just a really special thing. And when you lose it, it's like the end of the world. Or when it splits, oh, the worst thing ever. You've spent time and effort and
To coin a phrase of a friend of mine, the worst.
the worst, yeah, just the worst. But this is a good swim here from the city of Leeds. Rebecca, she's doing a really great job on this one. She's starting to pull away a little bit on this third 50. It looks like she did, she's kind of got the mantra I had to kind of push on this third 50, make a little bit more effort, and then whatever you've got left on this last bit. So there's no semi-finals at this competition. Normally there would be a semi-final for the events at the 100s, the 50s and the 200s, but there isn't. It's just straight from heats, straight to finals, and the 800 we'll find out a little later. That's just the fastest heat at night. And a lot of these kids and swimmers are all going to have to swim really fast heats so that they can get straight through to the final. But at major events, that's what you need to do. It's not about sitting back in the heats. You have to be making sure that you're doing good heats. And we're trying to create that kind of atmosphere here. Is that the heats are as important as making it to the finals, as to the finals themselves.
Kleins comes in, dominant is the word I would use in this heat. 2:32.22. Amelia Klein's very comfortable. I think 2:34.60 is her PB, so 2:32.22.
Really good.
Hoping she's happy with that. Rachel Taylor in second, Lucy Ross then in third. We'll try and bring you the results in just a second.
Yeah.
In fact, look at that.
Yeah.
Just like that, the shopkeeper appears when we get to that. We'll now know how old I am. There we go. Kleins, Taylor, Ross, Booker, Wilson, Fitton, McDonald and Fenton. Heat 6 is coming up in just a second. Thank you very much to those of you still sending us those messages via social media. There you can see the start list for heat number 6. We'll talk about them individually in just a second. Scott Wellsby said a massive shout out to all the Stockport Metro swimmers enjoying the live stream here. A couple of pictures of wolves for the wolf pack. That's what they're known as up there in Stockport Metro, as Kerry Ann knows all too well. Sarah Stringer, good luck to Georgia Pryor, swimming in the 50 fly shortly for Harlow Penguins. The other thing I've noticed over the last couple of years is the new clubs.
Yeah.
Different clubs starting to come through as well. And we were talking about this yesterday. I met a giant figure of a man called Spencer. He's just down here. He's got his hair in a sort of small ponytail, massive beard. Looks a little bit like Brian Blessed. For those you see him, yeah? You can't miss him. He's there. So he's got a couple of people from Long Eaton Swimming Club in Derbyshire. A small club. So it's nice to see some of these smaller clubs really starting to be able to churn through and churn out people like Adam Peaty swimming for City of Derby. That's not it's not recognised as one of the bigger clubs, but I tell you what, they can be proud of what they achieved there.
100%.
Absolutely.
All these coaches as well, they're a lot younger, which is great. What we're trying to create is a younger coach who are asking questions, who are not afraid to ask for help or to collaborate maybe with another club or local clubs. And I was very lucky when I moved to Britain. I trained with a club called Aquabears in Rochdale, and we were training in a 33 and a third metre pool and then a 25-yard pool. So it was pretty tricky, but it actually made me more resilient. And I had a conversation with Adam Peaty just a couple of days ago. Same thing. He's like, I've been made a resilient swimmer because I was training in the smallest pool possible. It was taking me an hour if I wanted to swim in Loughborough, an hour to get there, then I trained for 2 hours, and then I'd be an hour back home again. So what it does, these small pools, it does definitely create this resilient
like a characteristic,
yeah,
I suppose.
Absolutely. And I was speaking to Hannah Miley as well. She it looks like that she's in the next seat. I think she might be in the next seat. Yeah, she is. And she was saying, actually, every now and then, now that she's moved to the Aberdeen program up in, she's now training at the sports village up there all the time. She goes every now and then, she goes back home so she can just swim in the pool and ground herself and go, you know what, actually, I did a really good job here.
Charlotte Rigg, Amy Bell, Orla Adams, Lucy Bean, Tatiana Belanogoff, Sarah Tripp and Rebecca Burton. Yes, I've been practicing lane 6. Rigg, Bell, Adams, Bean, Belanogoff, Tripp and Burton as they come into their final 15 or so metres. It's the final 15 for Bell and for Adams, and they are pretty much here stroke for stroke.
Yeah.
I haven't seen many all out races to the finish between a couple, but we are going to here and stretching. Oh, Bell decided to not take the extra stroke, and that paid off in the end. Adams having to settle for second, and Charlotte Rigg, all of the top 3 places on this near side to our commentary position. She finishing in third in 2:34.27. So it's 2:31.99 from Amy Bell.
Got Orla Adams there as well from Aberdeen Performance, and that's exactly where Hannah's training right now as well. So, you know, they'll have that nice kind of rivalry going on there. You know, good training. Results were on your screens just a second ago.
Just to demonstrate how far and wide we're reaching here, and I don't mean the belt on my shorts. British Swimming's Championship 2017. Colin Meaden is watching the live stream from Florida. He puts USA as if my geography is that bad, but thank you very much, Colin. He's rooting for his great niece, Sophie Yendall. Go, Sophie, he says. You know what? They're the sort of tweets we want to see from people coming into us. You know, we're all about support. We're all about progression. But you know what? It's great to see those people actually tuning in, watching the stream. Again, wherever you are or however you're watching it, thank you. Thank you for doing so.
Indeed. Any questions you've got, fire them our way. Shout outs you want us to give on these heats. And this is the girl that I was excited to watch, Georgia Coates, lane 5 there, doing the turn.
She's got some heavy competition in Hannah Miley alongside her. Let's take a look at the other swimmers that she's got to compete with as well. Lee Robinson, Emily Jones, Hannah Miley, Katie Max, Georgia Coates, Keris Coley, Katie Robertson and Laura Kinley. So as you say, we're only here in heat 7 of 9. And this is what we were saying right at the beginning of these 200 breaststroke heats. So we've just got a huge block of people you think, do you know what, this is really exciting.
Really exciting. I think we were talking, there's maybe 5 or 6 girls who are, you know, really pushing great times now. And, you know, we've got someone like Georgia Coates, you know, she's a freestyle swimmer. We've got Hannah Miley, she's a 400, 200, 400 medley. Well, to be honest, Hannah does everything, but everyone knows her from 200, 400 medley. And we've got these, you know, these newbies here as well with Katie Matz, you know, trying to step out, trying to make sure that, you know, she's seen and her performances are proving to be great performances. She's decided, you know what, I'm going to go for this. And, you know, with Stacey Todd retiring after the London Olympics, there was, you know, quite a big gap in this sport. It was always her and Hannah kind of fighting away. And here's Hannah. We know her very well for doing lots of different events and trying to, you know, doing all these events to forward on her 400 medley. And now she's done her 400 medley, she can just go, woohoo, let's just have fun.
Yeah, the rest of it kind of becomes a bit of a training regime, but also the caveat of that is you could become the British champion of certain other events as well. You know, it's I can't imagine what Hannah Miley's trophy cabinet looks like. It's going to be wedging space somewhere, but she's got plenty of them to go at, and she's doing it again here, really pushing Katie Matz, and Katie Matz will only benefit from the competition.
Absolutely.
Oh, what a finish that is. 2:27.24 against 2:27.41. And Coates is not far behind on 2:28.15 as well. So excellent stuff here in heat 7. We'll move on to the penultimate heat in just a moment. And again, those names, they get bigger, those entry times, they get faster. But Katie Matz, yeah, she'll be glad to have got through that. The challenge, of course, alongside her. And equally, because, as you said, it's a straight shootout, no semi-finals or anything like that. And she's 3 heats back from the front. Anywhere outside of that top 2, and you start sweating a little bit. You're a little bit more nervous.
Absolutely, definitely. And Katie clearly doing a good job under the watchful eye of Sean Kelly from Stockton Metro, my old swimming coach. I'm sure that they do a great job with their training.
Here in 1, Annabelle Guy-Johnson. Monson goes in lane 2 is Bethel Sloan. City of Cardiff leads Layla Black in 3. Chloe Tutton, last year's revelation, I suppose, if you like. She goes in 4 for City of Cardiff. Loughborough University's Jocelyn Ulyett in 5. Rosanna Arnold of Thanet Swim Club in 6. Emily Wood, City of Oxford in 7. Turns in 8th place currently. And Hayley Monteith of Edinburgh University goes in lane number 8. Early leader, we mentioned that there may be a surprise package or 4 in this event. Jocelyn Ulyett of Loughborough University could potentially be one of those.
wanting to take it to the British
So it's looking to be a good first 100 here. We've got Chloe Tutton. She's just come back from the Rio Olympics. She's had some time out. She's back in training, and this will be her first kind of big meet, if you like, post Olympics, where she can, she gets to prove she was she had the better result in Rio. But Molly did break that British record in the semi-finals, the race before they did that Olympic final. So she'll be wanting to prove a point to show that she's the one on top. So this heat will be interesting because they'll just have wanted to race. Absolutely just want to get out there, just want to race. Been a lot of changes in Loughborough as well. So for Molly in the next heat, she's changed coats. Marshall is now out in Loughborough as well. So lots of new faces. So we're really interested to see how she gets on with this. And and here's Chloe proving that Olympic experience has started to pay off because she's taken that step. She's now got in front of Rosanna, who's in lane 6 next to her from Planet there. Great swim from her though. Rosanna's really still pushing Chloe. Oh, sorry, that was just 4 and 5. Sorry, Michael. That's Jocelyn from Loughborough University.
Saw Mel Marshall and Paul Simon yesterday, still as chirpy and as lively as ever. So new club, same Mel, which is good. But coming through this again is a tough old battle. Chloe Tutton and Jocelyn Elliott will come to the wall, and it's going to be the touch with the lady with the good tan. It's Chloe Tutton. She's challenging you there, Kerry Ann, I tell you now. 2:24.96. That she's not got that from Cardiff, I'm guaranteeing you. Elliott 2:25.25. Symmetrical finish from Elliott with second position. And we'll bring you the results on the screen in a second, but I can tell you that they are confirmed. Layla Black is in third position. So there you go. Ladies leaning on the ropes. So there we go. Tutton, Elliott and Black. It's Wood, Sloan, Monteith, Guy Johnson and Arnold to complete that lineup. It was all a little bit too quick for Rosanna Arnold.
Yeah, sorry, that was my fault.
At one point I looked up and thought, that must be a good comeback for a second. So Sebastian Vanker says good luck to Dave Trickett, representing Leicester Sharks on his own in the 50 breaststroke a little bit later on. Can we give him a bit of a shout out on the live stream? If that is correct, then Leicester Sharks with just the one. He goes on his own a little bit later on. So as we said, new clubs being represented. Somebody says, this is Adnan says, we should be revising for med school finals, but I'm getting sidetracked cheering on Bethslow. To be fair, that's quite important.
Yeah,
Probably should carry on with the revision. Cara Hanlon of Edinburgh University, and this is very similar to one of the finals we had last night. It was Loughborough or Edinburgh. Pick one of the two. Cara Hanlon of Edinburgh in 1, Corey Scott of Edinburgh in 2, Abby Wood of Loughborough University in 3, Molly Renshaw of Loughborough University in 4, Emma Day, same, in 5, Rebecca Kamau of City of Birmingham is the only one that breaks this up. Olivia White goes in 7 for Edinburgh University, and another one from Loughborough is Megan Morrison. So that's 4 from Loughborough, 3 from Edinburgh, and Rebecca Kamau is looking around going, where are my friends?
Looks like she's doing a good job though.
She's hanging on in there. Molly Renshaw, as you would expect here in the heat, to go to the front, and she has done 1:10.61. Renshaw's personal best, 2:22.33. Had to settle for silver, and we said, a little bit of a surprise with Chloe Tutton last year, just sort of rocking up, if you like, on the bronze the year before, but maybe we weren't all expecting that to go straight into the gold medal position. She did just that. Katie Matz of silver in 2015. We've seen her a little bit earlier on as well. Molly Renshaw settling for silver last year. Georgia Coates, again another one in the mix. Layla Black in 4th last year. So again, these ladies now are starting to develop that pattern of battling against each other year on year, whether it be here at the British Championships or at the Summer Championships or the ASA Nationals, and equally then they go off to an international event. It was great to have the options to battle against each other.
Yep, and now Molly, she's coming in here. She's done a great 150 so far. She's coming into the last 25 metres of this swim, and she's a good body length ahead of anybody else. She's really she looks great. A good position to be in, but she is fighting the clock because she needs to make sure that she's got a good lane for tonight, and that she's done a good swim. She'll want to have a solid swimming as well from this race, and we'll find out in a second as she touches the wall, lane 4 at 2:25.70, which is a little slower than the heat before. We had Chloe doing it at 2:24.96, but like we said earlier, generally if you're first and second, you've got a good chance of making it in through to that final tonight. So we'll find out a little later what the results of that are, but
There they are on the screen.
results.
At least 225.70 for Molly Renshaw. Abby Wood, 228.47. All the spoils go to Loughborough here. Megan Morris, 29.56. Then a trio of Edinburgh swimmers after that. Emma Day and Rebecca Kamau of City of Birmingham coming in 8th position inside the venue. They'll throw all the information onto the big screen that we've got here at the start block end of the qualifiers. For all the information you would like, swimming.org is the place you need to go to. You can pick up all the information on not only this event, but everything to do with aquatic events in general. Maybe you want to be a diver, maybe swimming's not for you, maybe you don't want to get up early like Carrie Ann and swim 16 miles or whatever it is. So all the information you can possibly want on swimming.org. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well at British Swimming, and get yourself to the events. As much as we love talking to you through a TV screen or a phone screen, we'd love to see you in the crowd here. I genuinely thought, having been here for sort of 6 or 7 years now in this sport, last night was really good for an opening day, a day after a bank holiday, a Tuesday, nonetheless. Not that there's much better to do on a Tuesday, but great crowd. I think it was a great crowd last night, so really, really happy. We're going to move on to our next event in a couple of moments, which will be the men's 100 metres backstroke. I spoke to Liam at great length about this yesterday. Liam Tankland, of course, who was the master for so long for British swimming of this event. But for each king becomes the new dawn, and he had to compete with people like Chris Walker-Hebburn for a few years, and then all of a sudden the crown changes.
Yeah, and it's the constant, you're constantly doing that. People get injured, people have bad seasons, people are doing a bit more work, schoolwork and things like that. So it's a constant changing, and this year's always quite exciting for newbies or people trying to, make their mark on things, because they've got the real opportunity to do that, while what a lot of the older athletes are taking 2 or 3 months out of the water, and that has to happen for the longevity of those elite athletes and the senior athletes. They have to have the time away after a 4-year cycle, because you just can't continue, you can't, it's really hard to keep going and pushing your body constantly, especially if you pick up a little niggle. I had a shoulder problem, which I had for 6 years, and I was seeing physio every single week, and I had to do that because that's how I was going to get through it. So for me, taking a year out of the water in 2014, which I did, was the best decision that I made, a really unorthodox one, but it meant that I made my way to Rio, and I had maybe not the best result, but certainly one of my best performances.
Jacob Davis, City of Birmingham in 1, Samuel Pease, Basildon in 2, Charlie Brown, City of Sheffield in 3, Scott Gibson, East Kilbride in 4, Jacob Goodman of Millfield in 5, Oscar Bren of Plymouth Leander in 6, Kia Edgar of Falkirk Inter-Regional Swim Team, or first, if you like, goes in 7. Yet we were all cheering you on there, Kerry Ann, and as you say, if you rate that as your best performances, it's only in your heart and mind where you can decide how well you've done, and everybody else is just looking on from the outside. It's all about what you feel. Gibson, Brown and Pease, and this is where sort of self-criticism, the ability to do that in a constructive way, comes in very handy. We looked at some of the things that James Guy said after the Olympics, and it was, some people were like, oh, don't be so negative, and actually I looked at that the other way around. That was great that he was able to go straight away, do you know what, I want to do better. That wasn't for me, let's go again. That was perfect. It wasn't
a reason.
Yeah, he wasn't blaming anything, he wasn't blaming anyone, he was just kind of, do you know what, I want to do that better. Yeah,
I didn't feel it, I wasn't feeling it, I don't know why I wasn't feeling it, but it just didn't happen, and I know that is something that's going to be a detriment to my performance.
So a big tweet from Ellie Wheeler, who said good luck to Sam Pease in the 100 back. Well, done.
He's just gone. Another one here from Sebastian. He says good luck to Dave Trickett representing Leicester Sharks in the 50 backstroke later.
I've just said that. Are you not listening?
Is that the same one?
I don't.
You said someone else, didn't you?
No.
Oh, sorry. Stealing my thunder. I was going to read out my first tweet.
We'll put you on Tweet Patrol tomorrow.
Okay.
Baby steps.
You're right. Tweet Patrol tomorrow.
Right, 2. This is heat 2. There's no lane number 8 here. By the looks of that, Finland. Oh, Mount Kelly goes in lane 1. Joe Watt, City of Glasgow, is in 2. Charlie Bowden, Plymouth Leander in 3. George Lehman, Cleveland in 4. Michael Rees, Sutton Cheam in 5, Matthew George, City of Salford in 6, Benjamin Stagg of Mount Kelly goes in 7, unless he's appeared at 50 metres. Nope, he's definitely not there, there's nobody in 8. So back down they come. It took me lessons to be able to say Salford today.
Salford?
Yes, I used to say Salford.
Salford. No, Salford.
I know that
Salford.
now. I'm a normal human being, I know that now.
Lots of Mount Kelly swimmers in this 100 backstroke, so that's exciting to see that there's obviously a lot of competition within that club to push each other on.
Joe Watt going well, and in fact Joe Watt and Michael Rees, and at the moment it's unconfirmed, but those two have both come in, and I think that's the first joint finish we've had of the competition so far. Good to see 4 inside 59 there, both on 58.28 for Rees and Watt. Matthew George on 58.62, Stagg on 58.75, and Lehman just missing out on the 58 club by coming in at bang on 59, and Finton is just 0.12 behind that as well. So good swims all around, some happy people, and a joint finish in the top 2. So we will move on to the women's 800 metres events after these 100 backstroke. There you can see the lineup for heat number 3. Clave, Scholes, Thornley, Gain, Fitt, Small, Shillinglaw and Stirk from bottom to top. Who will be at the top of heat 3 of 6 is what we've got. We're looking out in the final few heats of people like Ty Balderson, Luke Greenbank, who's a ever-emerging talent in this discipline.
Yeah, he's just moved into Mel Marshall's program as well, so that'll be really nice to see how he gets on.
Ready for the third heat, and away they go. No, lane 2 actually in this one. So Stirk, Small, Fitt, Gain, Thornley, Scholes and McLeod. That's Leeds, Ellesmere, St Ives, Nova, Millfield, Peterborough and Dorking.
On our start sheet on this event, all of the boys go under 59, so we'll see how they all get on this 50. It's starting to speed up now a little bit more. I know when we look down the lines to Chris Walker-Hebburn, he's entered on a 53.5, so there'll still be another jump yet, but we're getting close to those seeded heats, the next heat in fact. So it looks like it's going to be pretty tight across the board here. Certainly a little fight going on between lane 3 and lane 4, and it was Joseph Small from Ellesmere in lane 3 taking gold with 57.30.
Small, Fitt and Scholes. Those Titans across the cap of Joseph Small there, of course, swimming for Ellesmere College Titans.
And the watchful eye of Alan Bircher, who was the granddad for me of open water swimming, taught me everything I know, including too many swear words that I've never repeated.
Not here. You can do it in the water, but not here. Oh, dear.
No, I have never repeated.
There's a lot of things you can't do in this chair, Kerry-Ann Payne, that you can do in the water. Don't do any of them. Kristen McComb in 7, Greenow in 8, McLean in 6, Greenbank in 4, Hume in 5, Beard Jones in 2, McNally in 3, and Anthony Everts of City of Liverpool goes in lane number 1. That was Joseph Hume we saw just a moment ago. Stood in lane number 5, Luke Greenbank from Crewe, just 19 years of age. The gold medal winner at the European Games in Baku in this discipline.
Yeah.
Took the 200-metre title there as well. So as I say, we've got plenty of names that maybe we've been looking at for a couple of years, and as you say, life carries on outside of the water as well. So maybe sometimes you have to take a step backwards or
Yeah.
sideways before you keep progressing. You know, we've had you do see some swimmers. Again, I've been lucky to do this now for 7 years, from the age group right up to the top at various years. And you see some people come through, and then just hit that wall.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe somebody who wasn't prolific behind them doesn't hit the wall and they go straight over it,
Yep.
or through it even,
It happens
and
quite
they
often.
progress very quickly.
Yeah, and that's why British Swimming are trying to create this robust group of swimmers, because, you know, if you do have a bad meet or a bad year, it doesn't mean that's the end of it. You can go forward and go through, and, you know, someone like Craig McNally here, who's swimming now for Glasgow, he's had a couple of years where he didn't have the results that he wanted, and a good finish there for that last bit, but Luke Greenbank taking it in first in 55.07, second is Craig McNally, 55.62. And third is Joseph Hume from Bath.
Greenbank, the European Games winner, who takes the mantle of first place in this one, 55.07.
Quite a little, about just less than 0.4 off the entry time that he had in there, so I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Now we're into, it's the second of the seeded heats, with Charlie Balderson, University of Stirling, being the favourite in this one. That was a good first round of heats there for those seeded heats with 55 lows. So it's always an interesting one, the seeded heats. You keep a watchful eye, but still trying to focus on your race and what you're doing, what you need to do to perform well. You'll notice as well once they've done the start that they have to move out the wedges that are in the water, because the athletes don't want to be hitting those when they come back in. So as soon as they're clear, they're taken back out. We can see that. Now you might not be able to see that on your screens.
It was interesting when those wedges were first brought in. It was slight pandemonium for some of the officials who maybe not, their club hadn't got them yet or hadn't used them yet. They were turning up, and I remember going to an event in Eindhoven in late 2014, and some of the officials there, it was like fire had been reinvented, or wheel. So it was quite interesting, but you know, we're all used to them now. So here we go: Nicholas Pyle, Perry Gardner, Daniel Cross, Charlie Balderson, Elliot Clodd, Brodie Williams, Jack Warren Ballard, and James Eddy. As you say, if swimming's one on paper, then Charlie Balderson didn't even need to get in. But I tell you what he's had to do: he's worked hard. He was 6th at 50. He has flown down the backside of this. Balderson coming in 55.62, nowhere near the entry time of 53.94. Balderson does have a 53.94 personal best, so that's his entry time as well, done at last year's British Champs.
Exactly the same time that Craig McNally did in the heat before, 55.62. So
maybe a bit of rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors. Wouldn't that be good? That'd be a good way. I'd quite enjoy that actually. Make it more exciting than alphabetical.
I'm going to say these very, very quietly. These words. We haven't had a swim off yet. For any
I doubt they'll be
places.
swimming off for this final.
You've said it.
I've said it.
You've only gone and said it.
Well, you said it first. Technically,
No, I was muting.
There we have.
So there's the man. I'm always jealous of the hair. Had a shave yesterday, though. He even said in his interview, you know, smartened up a bit. He swam in the morning with a bit of a beard on, and well, he's
long gone.
shaved that off and won the 50 title. And here he is looking for victory in the 100 event as well. So it's Kieran McGuckin of Edinburgh University in 1, Scott McClay of Perth in 2, Joe Elwood, Loughborough University in 3, Chris Walker-Heaven of Bath University in 4, Xavier Mohammed, City of Cardiff in 5, Callum Barrett, Loughborough University in 6, James McFadden, Wickham District in 7, and Jarrell Murphy of Ealing in 8. And Chris was talking about the move of club and the change, and again, he's feeling good. And he actually, you know, he was quite blunt about what he said to John Mason in the interview yesterday. He actually looked at the time and he said, look, there's the proof. That was great to hear. It was quite refreshing for somebody to actually go, look, it's working.
Yep, absolutely. I think especially as you get older, as an older athlete, you need to change, and things need to be different. You can't just keep doing the same things that you've done the whole of your life. You've got to keep evolving. The world keeps evolving, the sport keeps evolving, and it's great great as well. There's so many more collaborations happening now within British Swimming, with UK Sport, with the English Institute of Sport, with all the home nations, Scottish Institute of Sport. You know, they're all talking and they're all collaborating to try and, you know, improve on performances year on year. That was a very slow finish, but he did that on purpose. Actually, he knew that he was in front, and he just needed to touch the ball in a fast time, the fastest time, in fact, so far. But I'm sure he still has a lot more to come from there.
He's dragged Xavier Mohammed along with him, so the Akani's 54.90. They're only two inside 55. And that's another name that year on year on year you see him there. And you just think to yourself, I just wish for your own benefit, just be able to break that down and do it. Maybe this new cycle is his cycle. You just don't know. Age, sometimes you get the feeling that there is a certain cut of age. It was proved wrong in the Olympics with a 34-year-old winner. Out of retirement for God knows how many times, and then all of a sudden there he is, top of the pile. But maybe over the longer distances that would be a little bit more unpredictable. But there we go. Walker Hebert doing what we thought he would do, and as Kerry-Ann was pointing out there at the finish, there's probably a lot more left for Chris Walker Hebert to find in that men's 100 metres backstroke. So that will make for an interesting final indeed. He will definitely be there. I would imagine that Mohammed's time as well is there. You've got Joe Elwood and Scott McClay. Joe Elwood would think he was there. Scott McClay, Gerald Murphy, and those will all be battling it out for places in other finals, I'm sure. Of course, tonight, a reminder that if you're just tuning in for the first time in our coverage this week, we have 3 finals per event. So there is the junior final, and there is the Target Tokyo final, and there is the senior final. Tonight we'll talk to you more about those age groups and those years of age that are eligible to compete in them. Things within swimming are always done on year of birth rather than actual age, so it's a rather grey line somewhere along the lines. But like I said, we had a 13-year-old swimming last night, and she swam from lane 4, qualified fastest for that final from lane 4, 8:13. And you sort of rub your hands as a coach at that point, and you think, come on then, how much more can I get from you as you go forward?
I hope not at that age that they're rubbing hands going, oh, what can we get? I hope at that point coaches are going, we have a great talent here. What we need to do is make sure that, you know, we hone those skills and we make her that resilient swimmer, because what we see quite often on the junior teams is everyone thinks that the European juniors or the world juniors are the be all and end all, and it's not. It's a stepping stone to that senior stage, and time again we've seen young athletes who are, you know, they have a great result when they're younger, and then, you know, expectation also all of a sudden becomes something greater than it needed to be, and they get to European juniors and they win, and then they get, you know, it's a couple of years, and it takes a few years to really work your way through to the senior team after that European junior age group. And, you know, if you have a couple of bad years or you're not doing so well, you know, there's so easy to say no, essentially. So what we need is to try and, you know, with those youngsters is make sure that they're constantly on a radar and they're not being missed on anything, but, you know, doing the things that they can do to help them make, I know I'm going to say this probably a million times and I apologize, but trying to make people more resilient. That's what's going to win us medals. That's why the Americans are so good at what they do, because they race constantly throughout the season. They're all such resilient athletes and robust, so that, you know, if they have a bad season or they have a bad year and it's competitive, they are a seriously competitive nation going through. So I hope that, you know, the coaches looking at great youngsters are thinking, right, let's target, you know, a few meets like European Juniors, like World Juniors as well, to give them a really good opportunity to work on skills, to practice process goals, a chance to see a physio, a chance to see, you know, how teams are run and that team atmosphere. And the European Youth Olympic Festival is a great one because it's that multi-sport event.
Yeah, and we're not taking away the medals from a World Junior.
Oh, absolutely not.
But they're not the medals that get you the face of a vegetable burger or on a box of cereal as a sponsor. You know, that's not the one that puts you as a household name. But equally, like most sports, getting athletes used to winning under pressure is also another challenge. So they're the parts where these European Juniors and European Youth Olympic Festivals and the World Junior, that's where they really are handy. But we were talking about this with the guys yesterday in conference. It's not just about actually swimming at the event, it's about how they cope with being away from home, being away from family, being away from their normal coach at their, as you say, their smaller pool, and then swimming in a massive arena. I've been to places all around the world, and some of the buildings are huge. No offence to Paul Schwartz, this is a great and very tight building.
Yeah.
You go down the road to London and you got the aquatic centre, big wide open expanse of glass. And then you go to the Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Centre in Dubai, and it's like, wow, what is this? And I've said that perfectly, by the way. I'd said that a million times before. But and then you can go over to Eindhoven, where again it's a bit like this. It's a nice compact arena. So but getting them used to being away from those home creature comforts, that's one of those challenges as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was very lucky as a youngster to have those opportunities. I was, like I said, I was picked for my first team at the age of 14, and then I was on the junior scene only for one more year, and then I was put onto the senior team because I had the performances, and I went through and did a really good job as a junior, but made the senior teams from quite young. And it meant that, for 1 year, I think it was 2006 Commonwealth Games year, I was away from home for 7 weeks. First of all, how do you pack for 7 weeks? I was in South Africa and I had to pack all my kit for the Commonwealth
Wash
Games.
powder.
Yeah, lots of that as well. I had to learn how to do washing. I had to learn how to cook. I had to learn how to do all these things, which my mum was, she was great and helped me with all of that while I was growing up anyway. But yeah, those sorts of things are really good opportunities, and they're great life skills.
I'll tell you a secret, Kerry Ann Payne, Commonwealth Games 2014. I was away from home for a week before it, and a week after it, and I was there up in Scotland. I took my mum.
Oh, that's nice.
Took my mum.
Did she enjoy it?
I don't know, she did all my washing and cooked for me, so I'll have to ask her
I hope
one
you
thing.
thanked her and took her out for some nice
I bet
dinners.
thanked her, but don't ask me if I paid her, that's beyond. So there you go, creature comforts and all that. Let's take a look very much at what we've got on the screen right now. So this is the start of what we've got here. We've got 5 heats altogether. The 5th one will be swum tonight. The big dogs, if you like, of the event. They will swim tonight in that last heat. Chance for a couple of youngsters to swim in that. Ollie Hibbert, born 99, so to Isabel Griffiths of Birmingham. So a chance for them to swim in the final heat of that tonight. But we've got 4 heats coming up for you this afternoon, if that's the right time.
Morning.
Just about 20 minutes out there. So we've got Georgia Milton of Romford going in lane 3. Olivia Miles of Thanet Swim Club goes in lane 4. And Megan Davies of Barnet Cockrell, who currently sits in second, and it's already looking a big ask for Georgia Milton against these two. She's some 3 body lengths behind second position in Davies. Now Milton's personal best is actually slightly quicker than her entry time in a 9:12.02. She swam that in the London Regional Summer Champs in 2015.
Looking at these ages here, we've got Olivia, so she is, in front in lane 4 there, but actually she was born in 2002, which is very young.
Not talking to her.
2002. So she's got a good opportunity here to prove to the girls, on either side of her, born in 2000. She's the youngest. She's doing a good job of it so far. Coming up to pretty much the halfway point of the race. We've got 2 girls, lane 4, like I said, we've got Olivia, got lane 5, which is Megan Davies there from Barnet, doing a good job. They'll be pushing each other for as much as they can. So coming up towards the halfway stage of the race now of an 800 freestyle. So many things go through your mind. It feels actually like it takes about 15 minutes, and interesting that we're doing straight finals here. It's always something you dream of as an 800 freestyle swimmer. Certainly.
During the race, you've got enough time.
Yeah. No, when you get the start sheet, you're like, is it? Yes, it is. And then you're like, oh, I don't really know. Because if this is your first race and you're going straight into a final, it's sometimes a little bit tricky. And if you've got a chance to do a heat, and then a final, it gives the others a good opportunity. So someone, you know, in that sort of fourth heat, because we've got 5 heats here today, I think, someone in that fourth heat, if there was a heat, they might have got the opportunity to then race the final. So I guess you've got those sorts of things there.
So this is a perfect opportunity. We can keep an eye on those lap counters ticking away. It's a perfect opportunity for us to explain all of the elements of the 800 by asking our expert. But what we're going to do, and again, this is the sort of the modern way of we're wanting to take the coverage that we've got here with British Swimming, and we're throwing the forum open to you guys. If you're sat there watching these 800 metres and that's your discipline, you know, whether you've just not quite made it here this year or you're out injured at the moment, but you've got general questions about swimming, then this is your chance to get them into Kerry-Ann Payne during these 4 800-metre events. We've got that little bit more time to answer those questions. Hashtag BSC17 on Twitter. Hashtag stream as well. It helps us to pick out all the tweets. So send us both of those. Thanet Swimming Club has said a good shout out here to Olivia and Maisie. Olivia in this first event, of course, both swimming in the 800 free at the Champs this morning. But yeah, if you've got questions right now, is a good time to do that. So get them sent in to us. Xavi Torres, good old friend of mine, he's watching the British Swimming Championships. Thank you very much to Xavi Torres, watching it out there wherever you are in the world, my friend. We're going to start asking a few questions of Kerry-Ann. We had one tweet come in from an Andrew M. Good youngster, big fan of swimming. I know Andrew M is more interested. He wants to know if you just see there a moment ago, coaches waving their arms and throwing their arms forward. They're not trying to wave down a plane or anything like that. They're encouraging their swimmers. Can you actually see that?
Yeah, you can. It's always nice. Yeah, no, it's always nice to see the coach on the side. It depends, actually. I'm going to retract that. It's nice if you're doing well to see the coach on the side. You get a feel, actually, in the water of how frantic they're waving. If they're generally waving, you know, in a good sort of, you know, stead, and they're shouting like that, you can't tend to hear the shouting, but it makes everyone feel better. But yeah, you know where your coaches are, you know where they're going to be. And some people, I used to do this with my coach at the time, Sean Kelly. You know, we used to have little things. If I was doing well and I was on the time I needed to be at a certain point, you know, it was just a gentle wave. And if I was just a bit off, it was a bit more of a frantic wave. And then always down the last sort of 100 meters, it was whatever basically he had left in his system to do that. And it's quite nice to have that, as long as you don't find it a distraction. I never found it a distraction. I quite enjoyed it. But saying that, there was quite a few years where I actually swam without goggles. I was about 18 when I first started wearing goggles. I used to race without goggles, so I never really used to see anything anyway.
I thought your eyes were red because you were tired. These two keeping pace with each other, is that more helpful than going in out alone? And you know, we can refer to some of the best in the world here at this point. We hear the bell, and we'll explain more about that in just a second. You know, you watch somebody like Katie Ledecky, and she may as well just swim it alone and then let everybody else swim against each other to see if they can get the other time. You know, but does it help to swim against somebody, or does that take you away from your game plan sometimes?
No, I think it depends. You know, on this occasion, both girls have swum really well with each other now, and you can see that. You know, Megan from Barnet, she's decided, you know what, I'm going to stick where I am. I feel good, and on that last 50, I'm going to try and see how much I can do. And she started to pick up that pace there. And they're coming into that last 50 now. So Megan Davies is just in front on that turn. Olivia, she doesn't want to lose the race now after having this. Oh, there you go. You can see that now. So this is when things really help on these situations. Olivia Miles there. She's now just got back in front again. Like I said, she's the youngster, so she really wants to prove what she can do on this race. And Megan, it's going to be a really good finish coming into this last bit. Got nice head down on that last bit, and she touches in a 9:12.73, so very close to the entry times that they had in. She had 9:12.67. 9:12.73 there. Megan Davies from Barnet, she was second in a 9:13, and here comes Georgia Milson from Romford. Great last sort of 25 metres then.
Am I going to guess correctly here that we imagine that Olivia Miles will be slightly annoyed she hasn't broken PB at the British Champs?
Absolutely.
And it's not by much either as well. So
she's leaning over that, and
you'd want her to be annoyed.
Yeah,
I suppose as a coach,
from here I can't see her face exactly, but she does look a little. I was really hoping to do that. You know, you can see her face there. She's not as happy as she probably would like to have been. You know, breaking 9 minutes is a real barrier for 800 freestyle swims, and I remember breaking 9 minutes for the first time, and then all of a sudden, very quickly, you break 9 minutes, and then it's all of a sudden it's like then it's 8:55, then it's 8:50, and then it's 8:45, and it just goes down and down and down.
So 3 swimmers there finishing heat 1. I'm going to give you one of those moments. Lindsay Murray says, can we give a shout out to Abby, who's watching her brother swim for Pioneer 79, Joe Murray in the 50 breast. She's watching from a hospital bed in Blackburn.
Oh,
So I told you you'd do that.
yeah, that's really
One of those
good.
sick emojis as well. It's obviously not catching because it's not one of the best ones. So away we go with heat 2. Eleanor Rickson of Guildford. It's a little bit easier when it's a full pool, isn't it? You know, when there's just the 2 or 3 of you, you don't quite get the sense of the race environment, I suppose. Eleanor Rickson of Guildford goes in 1. Alicia Hawkins, Stockport Metro in 2. Esther Halford, Davencio in 3. Sophie Smith, St Thomas in 4, Fleur Lewis, not Fleurist, Barnet Copthall in 5, Olivia Tatton, Northampton in 6, Roycin Ramsey, Warren de Bar Club goes in 7, and Roisin, look at that, there you go, you learn something new every day. Claudia Murray, City of Cardiff, goes in lane 8. I will forever let you say lane 7. So yeah, best wishes and get well soon, Abby, to you from myself and Kerry Ann. That will probably mean more because Kerry Ann said it, but there you go, that's fine. At least you got a little mention there. Hope you get well in your hospital bed. I hope your brother does well later on as well. Coming to the wall here at this turn, that's 100 gone. Just the 700 to go for Sophie Smith, 103.27. Fleur Lewis in second on 104.11. Olivia Tatton, 104.14. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here, Kerry. When I've done the longer distance races, in fact, all races, Ross Davenport, who often turns up, he's going to be here tomorrow in some capacity as well. Ross Davenport is very good with the numbers and the times and stuff like that. Is that something you learn here? You know, like a darts player learns how to play and figure out where he's going, even from right back at maybe 200 or 300. Do you manage to measure the times from the water? Are you good at knowing what's happening around you, or do you just literally think, I know this is how the speed I'm meant to be, and then I'm going to pick it up in a minute? Or is that a lot to do with the coach waving on?
No, you have to learn how to do that stuff yourself and how to pace a race. Having a little kind of, you know, a little thing from the coach to say you're kind of on target or not is always quite good. But that's what training's for. Training is about, you know, getting in day out, and hitting the times that you want to hit. You know, we do things like sessions where they're just about race pace, and that is a breakdown of the race pace that you would like to do. So whether it's maybe hundreds at a certain pace with a certain amount of rest, and then you start that at the beginning of the season and you try your best to make it as much as that, and then maybe you make it 200 next time or a 400 next time, so that you can try and do as much race preparation and practice as you can. I was never very good with numbers, and you know, I told you earlier, I'd always touch at the end and be like, oh, what do I think happened? And you'd kind of go through there, through it like that. But a lot of people are very much about that. Swimming is very much, it can be quite a sportsy geek kind of sport with all the times. And I was trying to work out times yesterday when I was on the train down from Edinburgh down here to work with you guys, and I was terrible at it. And I am terrible at numbers, so don't ask me to give you any of those things. But I just love watching performances and seeing how people go through races and the decisions that they make and at which point they make them. So, you know, here in lane 2 from Stockport Metro, we've got Alicia Hawkins. She's going out. She's, you know, very much decided that's what she wants to do. So it'll be interesting to see how she gets on, you know, in another 200-300 meters time.
We saw a shot of some people who are very good with the maths, and they were the coaches that were on the side. You see they've got multiple stopwatches on for different swimmers, certainly during the warm-up. They got there you are, the notes are going in, and equally immediately they can look at the time for that turn, and immediately they go, right, do I need to wave, or am I happy with that? And you see some of them, they look at the clock and start going panic. The arm goes immediately, but they're all quite laid back on the sides here.
So the stopwatches are very fancy these days, and they do individual split times, so they'll be able to see, and coaches tend to do split times at 50s and split times at 100s as well, so you get quite a quick a quick result, if you like, if you're doing those. And it's not exactly exact, but you get a rough idea for what you need to do. But yeah, coaches with clipboards and timing things down, and we had a brief view a second ago of Stockport Metro's coaches over there on the side, and Sean's writing things down while Richard Blackshaw is waving Alicia on, getting the times, writing things down, and seeing how that all goes. So you'll probably start to see a few more waves happen in a couple 100 meters time. Starting to make a difference now in the race.
Absolutely. We did say if you've got some questions for Kerry Ann, then you should send them in, and Nika has done pretty much that. How many hours should my 10-year-old niece be swimming per week? She currently trains 4.5 hours a week, loves fly. It's a very open-ended question there. But it's for you, so I'll leave it with you. Off I'm going.
There's no right or wrong answer, really. I mean, the wrong answer is for her to be doing 25 hours a week as a 10-year-old. My suggestion always to young athletes is if they're just get them doing different sports, get them doing as many sports as they want to. So ball skills are a really good way of teaching kids how to have that hand-eye coordination, which might not seem very good to have, in the pool, but actually it really helps with starts and turns and all that kind of stuff, and makes you a more resilient athlete later down the line. And I would suggest doing everything. If they absolutely love swimming and swimming is all they want to do, then 4.5 hours perfect. If you're struggling to get them out of bed in the morning, maybe 4.5 hours isn't the number. So I wouldn't necessarily look too much at the number, but just that they're doing a whole range of different sports and they're enjoying, being a 10-year-old.
Good swim so far for Hawkins in lane number 2. Say her entry time 9:10.79. Hawkins leading the rest of the field. 9:10.79 is a personal best done at the Sheffield Premier Meet earlier this year. She also swam the 400 metre freestyle. Where do you in your career decide there's a lake there with some geese? I'd love to get in there. I did the Testament for London, so I know that's a true story. There's a lake. I'm going to get in it. What's?
Yeah, open water found me really. I had
I thought that might be the answer.
A couple of bad years in the pool. I just missed out on making quite a few competitions. The World Championships 2015. I just missed out on qualifying for the 2004 Athens Olympic Games. I did the time 2 weeks too late, and then going on from there and going into the Commonwealth Games in Melbourne, where my boyfriend at the time, my husband now, David Carey, he won 2 gold medals and I came away 4th. So he was on the Scottish team, I was on the English team, and I just remember having a meeting one day and it was like, right, we're just going to have a photo now with all the medalists. And if you could just have all the medalists stay in the room and everyone else, if you guys could just go and pack or get ready for what you wanted to do. And 2 of us stood up in this room, myself and Mark Foster, the 2 of us stood up, the only 2 that didn't win a medal at the Commonwealth Games, which was heartbreaking as a sort of 16, 17-year-old girl. And time was terrible.
Rather X Factor style.
Yeah, training.
I hope that's moved on.
Yeah, it has. But training, at the time wasn't great, and I had a real, couple of dark few months where I didn't know what to do. Sean, my coach, like I said earlier, he had no idea what to do with me. He kept giving me time off, and I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Very close to quitting. I wouldn't say retiring, I'd say it was very close to quitting. And then there was an option of coming to Sheffield to do a corner medley, or going to Australia and doing a 10K. And as lovely as Sheffield is, I thought I would go for the one slightly further afield, and I went out to Australia, and that was the start of it.
We'll pick up more on that in just a second. Alicia Hawkins, here's the bell. First swimming event I did, I just got up and left and tried to find some food when I heard that. Apparently it just helps you turn around. Cassandra Patton used to tell me in commentary, it's because sometimes in the longer distance you just completely forget where you are. And we have seen it on various occasions. People do the 900 metres, or they do the 1400 and hang on the side and wonder why everybody else is bell. It's just to signify the last 100 minutes, something like a white flag in a motor racing event, just a subtle sign to remind people that you've gone around 28 times or however many times it is. It's 14 on this occasion as you turn at that end, 15 at the far end now, which means that the next time you touch, you've done all 800 of the race, and the one doing it the best, although they're really giving her a bit of a finish here. Alicia Hawkins is going to take it, and out there in 5, Fleur Lewis and Barnett Copthall picked up the pace towards the end in a 9:04.36. That 9:02.97. Oh, massively.
Yeah, 8 seconds.
So too for Fleur Lewis as well. That was 9:09.07 done in the Wycombe Premier Meet back in March of this year. I say back, like 3 weeks ago. Lewis and Hawkins and Sobeys. As we said a little bit earlier, we were talking about some of the shorter events, that you're gutted as a youngster if you don't break a personal best here, because, you know, at that stage you're not, again, taking it away from them, but at the age they are, they're not looking at world champs or Olympics qualification. This is about going to a big event that you've been trying to qualify for, because that was the next stage that hopefully your coach is trying to get to that. To not get a personal best and swim your hardest at this stage might be a bit detrimental to you, but equally the coaches may have a different plan as well, so we will never know with all of them. So Hawkins on 9:02.97, Lewis 9:04.36. Keep your questions coming in. Hashtag BSC17, hashtag stream. If you've got any questions for Kerry-Ann about certainly maybe the 800 metres, but anything genuinely. We've already asked her where she got a tan from, so don't ask that. She's busy working all the time as she is, and we're lucky to have her here with us for the next 5 days, aren't you? That's right, yeah, for all 5 days, so that's good. Away they go in heat number 3 then. Let's take a quick look out over the water and realising there isn't any missing lanes. So there we go. Michaela Glenister, City of Leicester in 1, Amelia Sansom of Wickham District in 2, Iona McLeod of Dundee City Aquatics in 3, Emily Clark, Loughborough University in 4, Sian Martin of Newcastle in 5, Phoebe Griffiths, Ellesmere in 6, Caitlin McKay, Wickham District in 7, Jessica Podger, City of Bristol in 8. All of a sudden you go back to what you were talking about, but all of a sudden you think to yourself, okay, well, I'll have a go at open water. How much more training does that then add to what you were already doing for maybe if you were looking at just doing 400s and 800s?
It wasn't a huge amount at the time, really, and never really did get to a massive amount. Because training for an 800, there has to be an element of speed, there has to be an element of that kind of endurance, and it's exactly the same for the open water. You have to have a balance between the two, and at the time when we stepped into it, we were the pool swimmers, the fast pool swimmers, myself, Cassie Cassandra Patton and David Davies. You know, we were the pool swimmers coming into the sport and revolutionising it, making it quicker. And you know, we swim for 2 hours in every training session that we do, so it wasn't the time in the water that was hard, it was more on the body, you know, not being able to stop, not having any more. So in the 800, turns are a big part of the race, because you're turning at every wall and you're not swimming for potentially sort of 7 8 metres every single length. You add that up over 800 metres, you're not swimming for quite a lot of it. But in the 10k, you've got a choice. You know, you're swimming for 10k and you can't really stop. If you do, you lose the pack or you get swum over, which has happened on very many occasions to me.
I've heard many a story of being mowed down by an overzealous German swimmer, or somebody just generally wants to get by you. But here, trying to get by is Clark and Samson, because Griffiths is the lady with the lead. But this one is staying fairly level as they go past 200 metres already. Talk to me about the pain of completely misjudging it, and I know that I've spoken to plenty of swimmers who've all done it, because I think it's part of the learning curve, isn't it? You get a little bit too over-exuberant, you've completely forgotten what your coach has said as you get onto the blocks, and you look across and you think, oh, I'm having this, and then about 400 or 500 metres in, you think, why did I do that then? Talk to me about the pain. What hits you first?
I did this just recently. I thought I still had it, you know, retired in January, thought I've still got this. Did a 4k open water swim when I was out in Nevis, from Nevis to St Kitts, and I thought that actually it was you know, a good opportunity to get a good race in. I'm too competitive. There was prize money if you did the record, and I thought, you know what, here we go. And yeah, it turns out you need to do a little bit of training. 6 sessions really isn't very much training to do 4k in. So yeah, the first thing that hits you is for me, it was always that, oh no, and then you're like, no, come on, we can still learn something from this, we can still do something first, and then the arms go and you're like, I really can't swim, and then it feels like you're swimming through treacle. It's just like, I'm trying, and then you've got your coach on the side cheering you on, trying to get you to swim faster. It's sometimes, if it's bad, it's a spiral that spirals so far out of control. I remember doing a 10k in New York, and we were swimming kind of just where the Hudson meets the stream. There's Alan Bircher just there. Make sure I go and say hi to him a little later. But on this particular swim, it was out in New York. It was where the Hudson met the sea, so it was really rough, really wavy. We were swimming between Staten Island and Governor's Island, so we were swimming past the Statue of Liberty every lap for 4 laps, and it was amazing. but it was the middle of our break. I had done no training. It was just after the Olympics, so I was, on a high from that. And I did the swim, and there wasn't many people there, and I was very unfit. I got hit at about 5K, literally saw little ducks like flying around my head, like, whoa, what's going on? I had to sort my goggles out, and then I lost the pack. 5K I had to swim on my own, and actually Sean, my coach, managed to find his way down the side, and for about 1,200 meters, never mind 50 meters, for 1,200 meters, Sean was waving me on, and I was on my own, swimming on my own, no idea where I was going, no idea where I'd come, second last, if you want a bit of context, and Sean was there the whole time, and I was like, not helping, still not helping.
The worst thing about all that is you didn't get any pictures of the landmarks either.
I didn't. In my mind, I guess, I've got pictures forever now.
Right, so Phoebe Griffiths of Ellesmere's leading this. So Glenys de Sansom, McLeod, Clark, Martin, Griffiths, McKay and Podger. So that's the lineup again here at 4:50. So a 4:58, 4:64 away from Clark. It is Griffiths that leads. In third position, Amelia Sansom. And one of the people that asked you a question, which was Nika a little bit earlier on, she's also then sent a picture of her daughter who's picked up one of the ASA Learn to Swim awards only this week as well. That's brilliant. So she's 5. She's just got her award this morning, in fact. So look at that. That's absolutely so fabulous. Cool. So hopefully she's watching. So yeah, keep watching. Keep paying attention to what Kerry Ann says. Don't listen to me in the slightest. Certainly don't ask me for advice. But there you go. Griffiths at the moment is leading away from Clark. Sansom in third. And, there's a little gap between first and second. A smaller gap between second and third, and then barely a gap between third and fourth. Look at that as they come by, like coming by the window on the ship. Brilliant. And they'll head down. This is the third heat. We will have another one after this, and then tonight Amy Wilmot, Alice Deering, who's also done a fair bit of open water stuff herself, Holly Hibbert, Jazz Carling, Camilla Hattersley, Danielle Huskin. So I'm going to do that again. Danielle Huskisson. Thank you very much. I put an N in there for no apparent reason. Isabel Griffiths and Amber Keegan. Danielle has done a little bit of open water stuff as well, if I'm not too mistaken, in the past. So that'll be an interesting one, of course, right in the middle there. Jazz Carlin, not 200-metre champion anymore, but she would quite happily tell you that's not the preferred of the events that she does out of all of them. So the 800 and the 400 will be on her mind, and that is exactly what she will attack, I'm sure, for the rest of the week. So we'll look forward to that one tonight, Kerry Ann. And we saw with the emergence of people like Timothy Shuttleworth in recent times, and Dan Fogg has very often competed like you have outside and indoors as well. And so it's good to see that there's always a challenge coming through. At the end of the day, let's be realistic. When Rebecca decided after London that was enough for her, you needed to open the door and see who else comes through. There was no longer any Joe Jackson, there was no longer any Rebecca Adlington. So obviously a chance for a fit Jazz Carlin, gutted before that. So she has taken on that long distance mantle inside under the roof. As much as people have challenged her, she stood toe to toe with them and battled hard with them, and now again, as we talked to Bill Furness at the beginning of the week about the new cycle, this will be interesting. Who's next? Who's next through that door?
Yeah, absolutely. She's done a great job, and it's just opening up people to come and do the same thing, to try stuff out, to have no worries. Coming into that last 100 metres now of this 800, so we've got Lane Sixon, Phoebe Griffiths from Ellesmere. She's in first with Emily Clark right behind her.
Closing up though.
Yeah, the gap is closing, and interesting. Emily Clark just did her PB, which she's entered on an 8:57 just very recently this year, in fact. Same with Phoebe, she did the time she's entered in on a 9:01 just recently as well. So I know that Ellesmere, like he says, with Alan Bircher as the coach, you can see him waving on poolside to see how she can get on. So we'll see how this last goes. They're not fighting for a lane in the final. This is their final right now, so they want to absolutely get the fastest times that they can.
Yeah, it's trying to educate your swimmer that this is your one and only chance. Go and take it, get it by the scruff of the neck, and get on with it. 9:01.96 is the personal best entry time for Amelia Sansom as well. So we'll keep an eye on the top 3. I think, as we say, here at the British Championships is the place you want to be breaking those personal bests at the young ages. So as they come through, Leona McLeod born in 2003, by the way. Coming through in 6, Griffiths, 8:56.22. Kerry Ann's doing the maths here. Emily Clark, 8:58.19. And Amelia Sansom, 8:59.35. Well, that's well inside the 9:01.96 that she had. How did Griffiths do? 8:56.22.
Great PB for her then, really good, just a little bit off Emily Clark's PB. She'll be a bit upset with that, I think, because she knows she has done an 8:57, but great. Hopefully that's, you know, the first of many times that Phoebe Griffiths can now go under 9 minutes, and as soon as you break that barrier, everything else seems quite easy to do. There's no real big barrier anymore. And there's your results on screen. Phoebe, Emily and Amelia. Top 3.
This is the final heat of freestyles this morning. As we say, the fastest heat, as it's called, goes tonight. We don't consider it necessarily a final, but it is the fastest heat. But all done in tonight's session. Just going to scare everybody slightly. The world record for the 800 meters done in Rio, and it's just bonkers. 8:04.79.
I forgot about that.
Katie Ledecky is just
Amazing.
oh.
When Rebecca Anthony did that time at 14 in London, I was was that from Beijing? Beijing. I was there in the crowd watching, you know, with the team, and it was just incredible. We were all crying, we were all going mental on that swim because she was so far ahead, and to have broken, it was Janet Evans' record before that, to have gone 2 seconds under 8:14 is still bonkers, absolutely bonkers. It's that fast. And then we get someone like Katie Ledecky comes on the scene. She's so young. She's just fired up for all of it. She's got no prisoners. She's not scared of anyone. She's not scared of anything. And she just absolutely loves swimming. She loves
such a great character with it as well. She's
really good
very
character. Yeah, 8:04, 10 seconds under Rebecca Adamson's British record, which is such a fast time. And you know, Rebecca will be the first to say, you know, what an impressive lady Katie Ledecky is and what she's doing for the sport. We've seen this time and time again with people like, you know, for instance, Grant Hackett from Australia back in the day, and that, you know, made Ian Thorpe come along, and he then started to push those events on. And from there we had Michael Phelps start to push all those events on, and then, you know, Ryan Lochte pushing those events on, and now we've got that in Britain with the breaststrokes.
I was going to say, I think we're allowed now to say that we've joined that club, haven't we?
Absolutely. We had, you know, Michael Jameson. He was really the one to kind of get those breaststroke boys. We always had great breaststroke boys, but he took that step and got them, you know, back onto that medal tally from London, which then, you know, drove Adam Peaty to, you know, to
things like that must drive. Things like that must drive Ross Winnock and Andrew Willis absolutely insane, because they've got, you know, it's like, well, that one's gone now, so oh, hang on, there's another one. It's like, but they're always the constant ones that are in and around. So
creates an environment where racing actually is the big part of it, which is what we want. We want it to be a race. It's not about, you know, trying to break British records as such here. It's about doing the time so that you can then go on and do the business against the rest of the world and beat the best of the world at the summer meets.
Absolutely. Well, Adam Peaty, like he did last night, will be the man people are watching in the very last event this morning as well. It was, we've obviously flicked into the afternoon, but it is considered the morning session. He will go in lane 4 of heat 9 of the men's at 50 metres breaststroke. And I said to him, he was stood outside getting some fresh air after he finished last night. He gave away his medal, by the way, if you don't know that story. He actually won a medal, the gold medal last night. He gave it to a fan. And he just said, in a non-horrible way, he just said, you know what? He said, I will win more of these, and I've got some. He said, it will mean more to him tonight than it will to me. And I thought that was wonderful. So he's, you know, there's some youngster running around with a British swimming gold medal on. As long as he doesn't try and claim he won it, I'm sure it'll be fine. Right, let's take a closer look here at heat number 4. We've got Jessica Thompson of Aberdeen in 1. Leah Crisp, City of Leeds, goes in 2. Nikki Miller, East Kilbride, goes in 3. Maisie McCartney, Fanuc Swim, was one of the people mentioned in one of our tweets a little bit earlier on. She goes in 4. Georgia Darwin of Newcastle goes in 5. Abby Houston, City of Sheffield, in 6. Monique Olivier of Edinburgh University, I believe from Luxembourg, in 7. And Molly Wright, Nova Centurion, goes in lane 8. She's the Luxembourg national record holder for the 400, 800 and the 1500 metres. I've been to Luxembourg, I've stayed in Luxembourg and travelled through it within about 28 seconds. I don't think there is 1500 metres in Luxembourg, it's not very big. So Monique Olivier, we do get quite a lot of international swimmers come over to Great Britain, and obviously one of the bigger success stories would be on the much shorter distances, Ruta Melatiti of Lithuania, and that can only be good for, like a lot of sports, if you're bringing international quality in, whether they start it young and get good, but at least your other swimmers are swimming with these talented people.
Yeah, it's just getting the rest of the world to know that Britain, yes, we don't have as many 50-metre swimming pools as, say, Australia or America do, but we do have great facilities here, the likes of, Sheffield, where we've got a great training program here. We've got Loughborough. I think I heard it was voted like maybe the third best university to go to, or something like that. We've got places like Leander where there are 50-metre swimming pools, and there are these university programs that are really starting to put the onus on doing both sport as well as doing your studies, which actually I think really helps athletes not to just focus purely 100% on sport. So it's great to see that, how they're all doing, and in Edinburgh as well, specifically with with Monique. She's obviously bringing in a slightly different element, different questions. There has to be different things. Why am I doing this? Why are we doing that? How is it going to work out that way? And only going to help the program by asking questions.
Do you know how many 50-metre pools there are in Kenya?
I don't actually. One. Wow.
There you go.
Thanks.
Just thought I'd let you know. Thompson, Crisp, Miller, McCartney, Darwin, Houston, Olivier, right, sharing the wealth of knowledge there for you. Leah Crisp of Leeds leading at 5:31.64 as they come towards another turn. Just on her left-hand shoulder is Nikki Miller of East Kilbride. She turned in 5:32.11. It's all changed now because Miller now goes into second position, and it's Darwin who drops down into third.
Had another tweet back from Nika from earlier, which looks like another daughter with hundreds of medals around her neck.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Cool picture. Wow.
You better move to a bigger house.
Cross up in the stands. Met Mavis, 42 Mavis today at the British Swimming Trials. Thank you very much for the photo.
Right, so we're coming up now to coming towards the end of the swim. Not very many lengths to go. 6:38 there, 600 metres. A lot of people used to ask me, why do people hold little counters at the end of the lane, and it makes such a big difference having them there, because if you are focused on a race plan and you've got something that you're trying to do, and then have to count and do it, is that 6 lengths, is that 4 lengths, is that 8 lengths? No, I've done 6. It's just a little guide for you, to keep check on that. So if you think you've done 8 lengths and you've only done 6, you're like, oh no, I'm not going to push just yet, if that's what your race plan was. And then again, having the bell at the end, that's always good. And I wish almost I'd had that in open water swims, because sometimes they're 6 loops, sometimes they're 4 loops, and I've got 2 hours to think about that, and I'm like, is that the third lap? Is that the third lap? Fourth lap? I'm not really too sure. So what we ended up doing actually was getting the coach, who was on the feeding pontoon, usually Bernie, to change his shirt on the last lap. So when we went past him, we knew that if it was a 6-lap race, we knew we were on the last lap, so we could then push on.
Couldn't you have just bought a bell?
A bell would have been good, but you're not allowed them, because that would be seen as a training aid for some.
Yeah, but Leah Crisp, 7:46.18, leads from Houston. We will be looking to take off in this last 100 metres and try and catch Crisp. Third is Georgia Darwin of Newcastle. Fourth, then Nikki Miller, East Kilbride. And then fifth, Monique Olivier of Edinburgh University, the Luxembourg record holder. Now, just to confirm that if you are faster than anybody else in the last heat, then technically you win the qualifying ideas that are behind the scenes. So people looking out, there are qualifying times to go for the bigger events as well, the longer distance events. Just because it's the fastest heat in the evening, it's all then ranked by the ages and the times. And, those that are quickest through their age groups, in theory, win their race, and they will be able to be looked at by the selectors. So coming up to the wall, all the information you need on swimming.org. If you want to get yourself on there. At the moment, Leah Crisp finishing in 8:53. 33, a little gap between this and Maisie McCartney, finishing in just a moment. There she comes, 9:09.02, a little bit quick for Maisie McCartney. She entered in an 8:50.82 to be back on 9:09.02. Bit of a struggle for her this morning. You get that?
Yeah,
You just wake up one day and
absolutely.
think, oh, that's not
You know,
worked.
anyone can be ill or have had a bad night's sleep, and the impact that'll have, especially on a race like an 800, it's not just a 50 where, you know, you might be 0.2 off and it doesn't look quite so drastic, but when you add in events like the 200, the 400, the 800, you know, if it's 0.2 every length, it makes a big difference towards the end of the race. But she'll go back now with her coach. They'll have her sit down. They'll know, you know, reasons or things that happened and how they can move on from there.
So we will be moving on from here in just a moment. We're going to finish this morning's schedule with a couple of quick fire 50-metre events. The women's 50 metres butterfly, no qualification standards a little bit later on for either of these events. So if we decide to allow someone to swim it, it will just be because they're chosen and they're already on the team, if that happens. So third, I was going to say, Anna Fleming, Sophie Yendel and Charlotte Atkinson are the ones we've behind the scenes picked out to look out for a little bit later on in this. Yendel's entry time is some 27:25. Got Freya Anderson as well to look out for. Fleming of the City of Glasgow doing a 28:7.28 as a personal best at the Summer Champs. So some good names and some good times at the back end of these heats. 7 of them to be exact.
This is a great opportunity on this race to prepare for your hundreds. There isn't 50, we don't specifically have times, I think, for the 50s, although there are events that happen at the World Championships on this occasion, because we're just focusing on those kind of Olympic events. But it's a good opportunity always to get out to work on that speed, work on the dive, work on the finish. And the 50 fly is always quite an interesting one. How many times do you breathe? Do you not breathe? Do you breathe? Do you do every 2? Do you do every 1? Lots of things to think about here, and you'll often see very different styles and strokes. And you know, some people breathe to the side, some people breathe forward. Not often you see someone breathing to the side, but I did see someone in the 200 fly earlier breathing to the side. You know, it's just very much about what the preference is.
So I've got a question for you here. What are you doing sat here? How old are you?
29.
Final heat of the men's 50 breaststroke. Lane 1, a man called David Ebanks, born in 1982.
Wow.
He's 1 year younger than me.
Yeah, 50s are a slight.
I knew that was coming anyway. I'm not even going to talk to you. Russell, Farmer, Harrison, Tajili, Slacer, Stott, Morgan and Stables. And it's Lucy Farmer from Stables. Nobody else can see the brilliant storyline there. Then I'm lost. Farmer, Stables, Morgan is the 1, 2, 3. Kerry-Ann's just dropped in with the penny there. Harrison and Stott just in behind. I love names. They're just great. They're forever giving. There you see it. The Farmer from the Stables. It is. That's the first 2. There is the next lineup. The second heat includes Hubbard, Mears, Robinson, Harris, Wilson, Hames, Ford and Southward. So we'll see what the times are in the second of our heats. As I say, we've got 7 of them.
Always a quick fire through on these 50s, isn't it? As soon as they're out on the other side, then the next heat pretty much starts.
So give it your all, or why did you bother sort of distance, isn't it? You're just not at the races. You're going to know about it because even over 50, it's quite punishing. And just about in the middle, yeah, Alicia Wilson was holding off from Caitlin Hubbard. You saw that shot right at the end there, the low shot down across the pool that you could see the arms in the near lane. They belong to Caitlin Hubbard in 1, but she was 8 100ths behind Alicia Wilson of Guildford.
Nice drop on the time her entry time there, so that's good.
Only 3 failing to get inside 29 there. So, again, it's getting quicker and quicker as they go on. So Kaylee Decker has the quickest entry time here in a 28:51. That is her personal best. So if she is to win this heat, she will want to break that PB as well. And obviously over these distances, things like a bad start are just massive.
Yeah, they'll definitely have a big impact on the whole race, and you'll often see people probably change their stroke, change their race plan if they've had a bad start, but they'll have, prepared for it, hopefully. Oh, that was an interesting finish there from lane 5 from Kate. She kind of thought she could do another stroke, but had to do her next stroke underwater. She still won though. It looks like maybe there's a tie.
Yeah, we might have to figure out the times. I think we'll wait for that to sort itself out. In fact, it was Kaylee Decker in the end. I was going to say, as you mentioned, the lady in 5 there, Kate Clifton, decided to try and go for another stroke, and it looked all very messy towards the end there. Maybe a little miscount on what she needed, but if she'd have just stretched her arms out, she might have taken that heat. But Kate Clifton, Kaylee Decker stuck to the game plan and took it. So it's Brown, Christie, Newlands, Laybourne, Stark, Ruskowska, Onal and Jackson. I practiced Ruskowski yesterday and she didn't turn up. Very disappointed. Here she is this time out though. So we've got Newcastle, South Aberdeen, Edinburgh, Hartlepool, Aberdeen, Swim Gwynedd, West Lothian and Crawley. As they come to the 15 metres to go marker on the far side in 7, it's Gulsum Onal. She's just going to get edged out by Catherine Stark in the end. You call her Katie.
She likes Katie.
I know that.
27, 8-2 then. It's nice and a double silver then actually on that one. 28-2-4, both from Anna Newlands and Jessica Christie.
Oh, you say silver.
Well, in this one. It looks silver on my screen.
It does actually, yeah. In theory, you've got a joint second place.
Joint
there
second,
you go. 28-24, but just being edged out by 3/100ths was Katie Laybourne. It was very close to being a three-way tie there, Karen, actually. But Catherine Stark, or Katie Stark, to her mates. We're all very official here, Catherine.
That's a nice PB from Katie Stark. Then she was a 28.09, so she's gone under that, that 28 mark, which she'll be really pleased with.
I spent years announcing inside the venues, and when you do that, the parents are pretty close. So you soon find out whether you said someone's name wrong or something. It's the amount of people I've seen come running upstairs and they sit there thinking, what have I done now? Sometimes it's praise. Not very often. Did once get a lady come up and say, excuse me. Oh, here we go. She went, the first person to say my son's name correctly. Oh, thank you. Great stuff. Kiara Standing, Beth Aitchison, Anna Hopkin, Sophie Yendel, Harriet West, Georgina Pryor, Pia Murray, and Alice Goldby.
Yeah, back in this race, I'm sure we saw her
Absolutely. Sophie Yendel as well, we saw a little bit earlier on. And Harriet West, I believe, went a little bit earlier on as well. Here in 4, Yendel. We were just talking about
26.99. Nice.
There was a big cheer from somewhere inside the building, so someone's done something exceptionally good.
Yeah. Smile on her face.
Yes.
That's a great time. So 26.99. You always, you want to just. It doesn't matter if it's 0.99. It is still under the time. It's still under 27. So
if you've done one and you've got a second to come, it's not so bad if you realise it's only 50. If you've done one and you realise the next one's a 400, that's when it hurts a bit more, isn't it? And another tweet coming in here. They're loving the chat on the commentary and lots of interesting stuff, especially during that 800 freestyle. So that must have been from you. Yeah, thank you very much for that. And we, as I say, a new cycle, so a new idea of how we want to do these things. And we want to try and inform and educate as we go along, but we just want to interact. We want to know where you are, who are the people that British Swimming are trying to reach out to, and who are we inspiring. And those pictures of people sending us in with their medals at junior swimming and their certificates for when they first started, and they're the inspiring for us, because we now see that it's working. We're getting people in. McInnes, Bruce, Thomas, Anderson, Fleming, Large, Jones and McRae. That's not bad. I got that in 4 metres. Thomas of Swansea Aquatics, 27.10 for Alice Thomas. 27.10 is inside the 27.39 that she has here as her entry time.
Sophie Yendel still the quickest time we've had. Only one so far to go under 27.
Thomas very much
only one heat to go.
Very much the oldest in that heat, born in 1990. Old enough to appreciate the Spice Girls. The others just don't know what they're missing out on. Okay. So heat 7. 7 it is. 7 is the magic number because that's the last heat of these women's 50 fly. Molly Allen, Raquel Matos, Laura Stevens, Charlotte Atkinson, Lauren Mills, Emily Horn, Yasmin Perry, and Emma Harvey. Final women's 50 fly heat. It's going to go with Atkinson unless somebody can pull something out of the bag here. The lady in the distinctive Loughborough purple cap is there. 27.04, which is just 2/100ths outside of the entry time that she gave us. 27.02. That's just 2/100ths of a second outside of the personal best, which is her entry time. And she's not long done that. That's done at the Bucks Championships, that I believe were held here earlier on in the year. So she's getting consistent times. Charlotte Atkinson, world record by the way in this one. 23.73 from one Britta Steffen, another one of those that goes back to 2009, the British
Not many
record.
records still around from that era though. That was the suits era.
Yeah.
Shiny suits as they called them.
Yeah, there's a whole new conversation for the pub later.
Yeah.
25.20 from Fran Housel still stands.
And no, also just looking back then, Sophie Yendel was still the fastest. She was born in 2002, so she's got a choice to make now, I guess, to which final she wants to swim in.
Yeah, I suppose she does. You can swim in the senior finals outside of the Target Tokyo and youth ones and still be considered for those events that the selectors have. Definitely said that right.
Yep.
The brain was going as I was figuring that one out, but so yeah, it's not, you don't have to. If you do qualify for the senior one and you fancy a senior medal, you don't have to swim in the Target Tokyo one to be considered for those junior events.
Yeah, the national directors in those events will, well, in the picking the teams, will be taking everyone into consideration. There'll be a few kind of discretionary spots that are available. I think technically the selection policy says the first two in the youth and the Tokyo 2020 final, but
right.
they will be absolutely looking at people in the semi-finals.
Big thank you to those that have sent us tweets throughout the course of the morning session. If you've got any more, you've probably got about 5 minutes at best, because these last few 50-metre events will whip by.
They will indeed.
Adam Peaty in the last one is the current world and British record holder. He did that back in Kazan as a world championship event, of course not an Olympic event, but he is a hard man to beat. He's going at it this year. It's a title that's owned by Charlie Atwood. He won it last year. Oh, sorry, he won the Summer Champs. He's the last one. That's the last time we did it. Didn't do it at the British Champs last year. We did it at the Summer Champs. Charlie Atwood won it from Jamie Graham and Ewan Inglis. So it'll be interesting to see how they compare up with the world record holder. So they're looking forward to that. Joshua Horobin of Belper Marlins. If that's Belper near where I used to live, that's, I didn't even know that existed as a club. There you go. Ross Neely and Miles Clark. In fact, that's just where Ross Davenport started from, Belper Marlin. There you go.
Very good knowledge.
And he went off to City of Derby, so they've had some pretty good swimmers through the door of City of Derby.
Yeah.
And as a mate of Ross's, I'm going to do this. And they've had Ross Davenport. You'll love that. He was here chatting with us earlier on. He's going to be here tomorrow, whether that be up with me and Kerry Ann or downstairs with Joanne. He'll be somewhere. So, Donovan, Waters, Hopkins, King, O'Brien, Muir, Alcorn and Metcalf in this second heat. Powering their way through the water. Be the Petey. Be the Petey within. At the wall, 30.27. I'm trying to find an inspirational line for him. He needs a tagline. James King, Western Supermare, 30.27. Second, Lewis Waters of Newport, 30.38. So 11/100ths between those two. Cameron Muir goes into third. We've got Keenan Young coming up for Preston in this next one. I had a bit of a chat with him earlier, but very laid back, but a youngster that can only do 5 hours a week training, and he's waiting until he gets to university, until he's got more time outside of what he has to do with his schooling and his home. And yeah, absolutely.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that will only help him become a better senior athlete down the line.
Well, here he is swimming. This is his second event at a nationals on 5 hours a week.
Amazing.
So, you know, give him a bit more, see what happens.
Absolutely.
So Young, Bryan, Leslie, Arkle, Newman, Rogers, Warnock, and Jasper Lai, I believe that is. You want to tell me something about young Ewan Inglis?
Yeah, technically related. So Ewan's brother is married to my sister-in-law. I'll let you figure that out.
Are we all following at home, people?
Ewan's brother is married to my sister-in-law.
I'm going to have to write that.
And it's Ingalls.
James Goddard's cousin is swimming here this week.
Yes, I know all of them.
Touching at the wall. That one's a real close one there. Ewan Leslie, 30-20 from Conor Bryan in 30-28. And look at how tight that was. Morgan Newman, 30-29. Kinnan Young, 30-35. So that's heat 3.
Yeah, about 0.3 off his entry time there from Ewan. So that's good progression.
Up next shall be Shipman, Tucker, Thompson, Stewart, Page, Murray, Clough and Bolans.
With the 100 breast being last night, seeing a couple of all of the same faces back in, it'll be interesting to see how they get on in the 50 today.
Yeah, that's quite tough, isn't it? Last night, you know, if you managed to make one of those junior or Target Tokyo or even the senior final, if you were already planning on doing the 50, you have to make a really quick decision on how tired you feel at the end of that 100 and think, you know what,
you've got to make sure that night you've done a good swim down, that you've had great nutrition, so it's not going to Pizza Hut and having dinner and then staying up running around the corridors with your mates until 2 in the morning. You've got to go back home, you've got to get good sleep in and be prepared and ready.
Other great pizza shops are available. And there's many of them here in Sheffield. I've been visiting quite a few over the years, as people can tell. Coming to the wall, Sebastian Stewart and Andrew Page are battling it out, and it's Stewart that gets there. In fact, on the far side, Bolans gets into second, Murray into third, but it really was tight. In fact, 1-100 between Murray and Page, 10 on 10th between Bolans and Murray, and 1-100 between Stewart and Bolans. So it was real battles all over the water there.
Yeah, so close as well to that elusive 29. Which is the big one on.
Yeah, you talk about the next stage, don't you? Each time, each age group or each person that they get in. Obviously, some people take up swimming a little bit later than others, or as you say, can't train until a little bit later on in their lives. So you're always looking at those next benchmarks, and that there in heat 4 would have been the benchmark, the 29. But here, well, 2 entry times inside 30. So let's see if they can achieve that again or quicker. No lane number 2 here. So we've got Cameron Manley, Gregory Butler, Oliver Crosby, Harry Devlin, James McFadden, Thomas Wiggins and Aaron Dolan. Definitely seen James McFadden once already this week. One of those that's getting out there and doing multiple events. Good swim from Manley on the near side. He's not going to get in front of Crosby.
4 29s on that one by the looks of things on our screen, which is good.
Yeah, 2 swimmers went into the race only having got under 29 for an entry, or under 30, but 4 of them managing it. And again, love how tight those 50-metre times make it look.
And there's such a breadth as well, such depth in this event, in breaststroke for men in Britain. You know, we've got the likes of Adam Peaty, we've got Ross Murdoch, we've got youngsters like Edward Baxter on his way up. He's training with Adam Peaty now, so, you know, what a great role model to be training with day in, day out. It's absolutely amazing.
Esme Crow says, nice to hear a little shout out to Martina on the commentary of the live stream. So Martina getting the mention a little bit earlier on. She let me down yesterday. I practiced her name and she let me down, but at least she was back in the water this morning. So big thank you to her. And Sarah Stringer says, get more TV swimming, or more swimming on the TV, although ironing and live streaming is great. Hey, look, We were on the BBC yesterday. The BBC took us yesterday, and I believe there's several more days this week that they're going to try and take that as well. I believe tonight is scheduled to be there. I then think it's Thursday, Saturday and Sunday, but we'll keep you up to date with all of that. So thank you to Sarah Stringer for that one. And here they come towards the wall. Lewis Fraser from the near side, Thomas Speed on the far side, and then right down the middle, James Lewis. So one for Fraser from the inside. Lewis gets second from
nice
5.
Smile on
Yeah,
his
he
face.
does. And then Thomas Speed showing just that to come third on the far side from us. So that is number 6. They just motor through these, don't they?
They do. Getting towards the faster heats now, so we've got Edward Baxter coming up in this one from Loughborough University. Like I just said, he won last night. I think, was that the Tokyo final he won last night? Or the junior final, and he's now has an amazing role model in that he's training with. We've also got Ewan Ingles in this one. This will be you'll start to see the time start to drop now into the 28 zone.
Yeah, Edward Baxter, one of those people who'll be stood at the pool at Loughborough and think the sun's gone in, and then realise that Adam Peaty's just blocked it all out with his massive shoulders. Lim, Baxter, Kurt Atwood, he's like a sideboard. Inglis, Clifford Stevenson, Trickett and Thompson. Charlotte Finley says he's watching one of our students at the live at the Nationals. Keep enjoying the stream coverage. Thank you very much, Charlotte, for getting in touch. So as they come through, Charlie Atwood would be the favoured name in this race, but he's being pushed. And the man that got bronze last year, who's technically related, I can't remember the story, to Kerry Payne, is the man that takes it. So the bronze medal winner from the Summer Champs last year.
And that looks like it's a good PB from him as well. He's entered in on a 28.19, but 27.81. So that could very much well be the first time he's gone under that 28 barrier, which is great because he's entered in here on a 28.00.
We'll have a look at that. Sometimes deceiving with some of the older swimmers. Their entry times and their PBs can often differ if they've had a peak at some point and then they're continuing to try and chase that. But, that's
Craig Benson in this one.
7, yeah.
One
Craig
of our
Benson.
Olympians from London and from Rio just recently. So he's in lane 3 from University of Stirling.
He should be, but he's not there.
Oh, he's not there. I missed that. Well, we'll turn our attention then to Lawrence Palmer and to Mark Campbell.
Yeah, Mark Campbell's personal best is 27.61, done at the North Age Group Championships just recently, this year actually, and came 5th in 2014 when they swam this event. So he was a European Masters champion in 2016. There you go. As you do. So as they come to the wall, it is in 4. It is Mr. Campbell. Well, he hasn't registered the time as he touched, but I'm telling you now, he was first. I've got my own eyes and I've used them. 27.70.
See the results in a second.
There we
There's
are
Mark
then.
Campbell, 27.70. Lawrence Palmer second. James Wilby third on 28.12. Coming up to the last. This is the last one.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where he mentioned David Ebanks a little bit earlier on. Thank you for the mention on social media pointing us in that direction. David Ebanks, born in 1982, 1 year younger than myself. And we are of similar physique. Look at me like that for. Ebanks, Davies, Murphy, PT, Graham, Steeples, Aitchison, and Taverner. And I've saved this until right now. Adam Peaty said to me last night, stood in the car park, just going to go for it. And if I do, I do.
Yeah.
And you know what, when Adam Peaty says something like that to you, you just think, yeah, he probably will. So up he comes,
like he
and
is.
look at the distance. This is ridiculous. Look at the distance he's already got between himself
Full body
and
length.
Jamie Graham, who is going full guns here.
Yep.
No messing. Peaty's time is 26.62. He is 0.2 of a second outside of his own world record in the heat.
Wow.
Just putting an exclamation point at the end of that sentence. In the heat.
Wow.
I'm scared. Truly
it's
scared.
so exciting for
Oh,
us to get the opportunity to watch him. And if you do get the opportunity to come down here to Sheffield and to watch, this is the event, one of the events, or up, sorry, yeah, around, wherever you come from, across, whichever side. It's so amazing to come here, and the atmosphere that you feel just being in this environment and seeing him do that is like, oh, can't wait. Goosebumps.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, should Adam go again in the final tonight, which is obviously wonderful. Should he go again tonight? We start our coverage at 6:20. There's the final results for that last heat in heat number 9. PT, Steeples and Graham, the top three. Steeples in 28.09, which is, by the way, that's not a slouch time. He's come in 28.09. Jamie Graham, as we saw alongside Adam Peaty, was giving it absolutely everything he could. Over that short distance, to watch somebody getting away from you got to stay strong. You have got to stay strong. We're going to give you a swim off in just a second. We'll talk about that in a moment. So tonight, 6:20. And what I wanted to say was, some people have said to me, oh yeah, we were always talking about Adam Peaty. We're not actually. What we're saying is we've now got this beacon that's leading us through. When you, like you said a little bit earlier on, somebody on your team, and you were on about the festival, so maybe somebody marches won a gold and you get a little bit excited. But if you've got somebody on your team in your discipline who's winning medals and they're creating a buzz, you can either get onto that wave and go with and be inspired, or get left behind. And you know what? At the moment, we appear to all be going right behind Adam and saying, you know what, you go and get what you can get, and we're coming. We're going to try and come with you as a group, as a team, and that's what we're sort of trying to get the message out. It isn't that we're just saying Adam. We're not. What we're saying is we've got this guy here who is scaring the world. We're not going to sugarcoat that. There are people around the world in the breaststroke who go, oh, I've got to race against this guy. And
Cameron Van der Berg, he's definitely saying that. I mean, he was right on the cusp of being one of the greatest
swimmers. He's taking some of these youngsters with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk about being inspiring, and that's what we want. Right, Ekaterina Avramova and Kirsty Simpson are stood on poolside. If you are new to the world of swimming and you don't know what a swim off is, they're actually great in the venue, more so than anything, because the spectators that are still left just pick one and they start cheering for them. And certainly over 100 metres this way. 400 swim off sometimes is a little bit more daunting, but it doesn't happen too often. But over 100 metres. Now what happens here is, and I'm not aware if this is for a place actually in a final or whether it's one as a reserve, but all of those slots have to be done. The coaches are asked if their athlete would like to swim again against the other person that has it, and if both of them say yes, this is what we get. We get a swim off. So the Ealing and Aberdeen swimmers have clearly said yes, we would like to go again. We can't at this point tell you whether this is for a place in or as a place in reserve for a certain final. Unfortunately, we haven't had that information come to us, so we apologise for that. There's not a lot between them again, is there?
Why they had to do that.
Absolutely.
They touched together.
So Avramova on 30.08 and Simpson on 30.22. And you know what? We can actually do the commentary because it is the two of them in a little bit of a faster action. Look at this. They're going right at it, Kerry.
I spoke to Kirsty earlier and she was like, I'm so ready to race. I'm just so excited to get in there and to do this. And, everyone wants to be in that final. Everyone wants another swim. And this is a great chance, for them both to push out again a little later from the heats that they can actually do it. So close to finish. It looks like Kirsty. It's just on the finish. And it looks like on our screens here that it is Kirsty Simpson.
And take a listen, the whole crowd they bought into that.
And they go have a hug. I mean, it's so hard when it's just the two of you. You both had exactly the same time, so you're both in exactly, not the same shape, but pretty much the same shape. And you've got to swim hard. Such a close time between them, really not very far at all, less than 0.2 of a second between that. I don't actually remember what time they did in their first round, but it'd be interesting to find out what the difference was in the times on that one. But Kirsty Simpson takes it, so we'll find out a little later.
So a good second morning session here from the British Swimming Championships of 2017. It was wonderful to be joined by Kerry-Anne Payne, and the great news for absolutely everybody is that she will continue to be with us for the rest of the week. So big thank you to you, Kerry-Anne.
All week. I'm here all week.
Here all week. Sound like an act. From ourselves, we'll be back with you at 6:20 this evening. Once again, whatever device or whatever medium you choose to listen to us on, we just want to say thank you, and we'll see you all later.